They also found nearly 400 pounds of methamphetamine. The truck driver was arrested, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. There is an end in sight to the Arctic cold weather system, now blamed for at least 10 deaths in 6 states.
Chicago Police Department completed approximately 4,000 well-being checks, and CHA completed approximately 20,000 well-being checks for their residents just yesterday.
Giudice is the emergency management chief for Chicago, where it's 0 right now and still feels sub-zero with the wind chill, but a warm-up over the next several days is coming. This is Fox News.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Yo, Jay, you sure you want to be washing your car right now, man?
Not now, Kev. I'm washing Betsy. And she has to be spotless, bro.
Clouds are coming in fast.
It looks fine to me. Look again. It looks fine, Kevin. It looks fine.
You know what makes more sense than Guam's weather? Using your Bank of Guam credit card at any Shell station to save 6% on gas purchases. Call, click, or visit for more details. Make more sense. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Terms and conditions apply.
Tensions rising in Venezuela as riot police enter the home of opposition leader Juan Guaido, who declared himself president last week. He was out speaking in a university at the time, his 20-month-old daughter, home with her grandmother. Fox's Steve Harrigan in Caracas.
Senator Marco Rubio from Florida said this was an attempt to intimidate Guaido and also maybe a trial balloon. What would happen if Guaido was arrested? What would the reaction be? Keep in mind the U.S. has warned that any attempt to harm or imprison Guaido would have serious consequences. And a lot of intimidation going around. At least 13 journalists have been either detained, thrown in jail, or deported over the last 48 hours who have been covering this event. Some journalists from Spain were taken out of their hotel at gunpoint.
Meantime, disputed President Nicolas Maduro leading a rally in support of the state-owned oil company today. He claims the U.S. wants to invade the country and take control of the company. It happens every year before the Super Bowl. A cross-country crackdown on counterfeit merchandise, this time including tickets, and not just for the Super Bowl.
This widespread conspiracy spanned multiple states, involved 13 defendants, and covered numerous sporting and concert events.
U.S. Attorney Bill McSwain announcing multiple indictments out of his eastern Pennsylvania district. The first 2 suspects arrested, both from the Atlanta area. One has already pleaded guilty. The NCAA is slapping 1-year postseason bans and other penalties on Missouri's football, baseball, and softball programs. This after a 2-year investigation revealing academic misconduct involving a tutor. Those penalties mean the Tigers' highly regarded football team will not be eligible for the SEC title game or a bowl game this fall. On Wall Street, stocks have been mixed. The Dow is slightly lower. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Attention homeowners, MRE solar energy systems now come with battery storage for 0 money down. This means that your home will have power even when the island power isn't available, like during power outages or during and after storms. The inconvenience of not having power for your home is a thing of the past. It's solar with battery storage exclusively by Micronesia Renewable Energy. Don't be left in the dark. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
At the heart of everything we do is our mission to improve the life of every child. From mungy nennies to growing teens, they'll be in trusted hands at FHP Health Center, where we offer comprehensive pediatric services to nurture and protect your child's health from day one. Begin your little one's journey to good health at FHP with seasoned pediatricians and professional staff who hold decades of combined experience. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for our all-new Ultimate Cheesy Garlic Bread. How would you like it?
I'll take a skeptical grandma.
Set in her ways?
A smidge.
Grandma, try this Ultimate Meatball Marinara made with Ultimate Cheesy Garlic Bread. Melted mozzarella, Parmesan, garlic butter spread. It's just like yours.
Like mine? My grandmother's recipe?
Try it.
You know, my grandmother's cheesy garlic bread was never all that.
Subway, make it what you want. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Freshman Senator Clint Rigel has introduced a bill that would legalize the sale, use, and commercial manufacture of marijuana products on Guam without requiring a medical reason. Rigel says the aim of the Guam Cannabis Industry Act of 2019 is to create new jobs and generate more revenue for Guam. In a release, the senator points out that a recent report projected stagnant economic growth for Guam in the year ahead, and the cannabis industry would be a shot in the arm to stimulate the economy. Bill number 32 would allow adults aged 21 and older to personally cultivate, purchase, and use cannabis and cannabis products. The CNMI has already passed adult use legislation, and 10 states as well as the District of Columbia have done the same, says Rigel, while 17 other states have recently introduced similar legislation to legalize cannabis. Andrea Pelicani, the managing partner for Grassroots Guam, said, at first glance, the bill appears to provide a good foundation for an industry that can diversify Guam's economy and provide safer options for both patients and the personal use for adults 21 and over. However, she said her group needs more time to review details of the bill. The Public Utilities Commission last night decided to leave the fuel surcharge unchanged. No increase and no decrease. It'll remain at its current rate of 14.4 cents per kilowatt hour. The Guam Power Authority petitioned the PUC to hold the surcharge where it is for another 6 months, and the commissioners approved. The surcharge is meant to offset GPA's fuel costs. GPA General Manager John Benavente said oil prices have been fluctuating lately, and the utility wants to hold the surcharge at the current rate until prices stabilize. We'll have more news after this.
Hi, this is Ray Gibson from The Morning Show on 93.3 The Point. And we're celebrating our one-year anniversary this February. The Point is your news talk headquarters with top news, sports, weather, and traffic, and of course, always a little extra. We want to thank our listeners, fans, and followers for keeping us on our toes and joining us on this journey. The Ray Gibson Show Anniversary Celebration is brought to you by Take Care, Our Island, Your Health Plan.
Security Title is honored to sponsor Ray Gibson on The Point. In 2019, we resolved to continue our mission of protecting and ensuring the land and homes of our beautiful island. Additionally, we resolved to maintain our vital connection to our families and our community. Protehi Itanotmo, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. The Leon Guerrero administration yesterday named Pilar Laguana the new president and chief executive officer of the Guam Visitors Bureau, replacing Nate DeKnight. The release announcing her appointment says that Laguana has been with GVB since 1977. She has been in charge of GVB's global marketing team and currently is working on new market sources in Southeast Asia. The salary for the position last year was $125,000 or $166,000 with benefits. Robert Alvarez has been named GVB Vice President. In addition, educator Melvin Wampat Borja has been appointed Executive Director of the Commission on Decolonization, a job that paid about $104,000 with benefits in the previous administration. Their nominations will be submitted to the GVB Board and the Guam Legislature for final approval. Just weeks after the Leon Guerrero administration announced the appointment of Jerry Mandel as director of the Department of Integrated Services for Individuals with Disabilities, she has stepped down. Governor's spokeswoman Crystal Paco confirmed that Mandel stepped down before going through the legislative confirmation process. She said Mandel resigned for personal reasons. In announcing her initial appointment a few weeks ago, the administration said Mandel has been a lifelong advocate and educator for people with disabilities. She served as the executive director of Gumamami and has worked as a special education teacher and guidance counselor. Paco said Carissa Pangilinan, who recently was appointed deputy director at the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, will instead serve as the interim acting director at DISID. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. Mostly cloudy through tomorrow, becoming partly cloudy on Sunday with isolated light showers. East winds 15 to 20 miles an hour. Today, increasing 20 to 25 miles an hour through the weekend. Expected highs around 86 degrees. Overnight lows through the weekend about 76 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:21, and we'll see the sun rise this morning about 6:47. And as we get closer and closer to the middle part of the year, we'll watch the sunrise earlier and earlier. Just the way the cosmos work.
Yep, starting today and tomorrow, it's going to be rising earlier every day until June 7th. That's when it kind of takes a little holding pattern until after the summer solstice. That's when it'll start coming up later.
The most important question for me is what day is Grill Marks?
Every day.
No, I mean, like seriously, it's Saturday, Sunday, which, if I had it, both days will work.
Today, too.
Today.
And
Grill Marks
take
today,
Monday
Grill Marks
off.
tomorrow.
Get some grill marks in. With that.
I like the idea. Let's take a look at the radar and see what it shows.
Just got some with some stratified rain there. It just kind of gets caught up in what is clearly a weaker flow. Things aren't moving quite as quickly as they were the other day, but that's going to change. Up to the north of us, we have another incoming wave of I guess you could call it energy coming in on the heels of another shear line, but it's a little weaker. The main part of the shear line is still well to our south, and I mean well to the south. It's down below 10 degrees north. This was a really strong push that came through. We can see this up draping across the northern Mariana Islands there. That's going to clear on through and allow for the winds to pick up over this weekend. And if you look up at the very top of the screen, looks like we got another one headed this way that might be here sometime next week. So this isn't going to wrap up anytime soon. Looks like we'll have at least a couple more weeks of some of this wintry, dry season weather.
So it's kind of trippy to me because you get really, really excited about these shear lines moving through, and my guess is that most people have no idea when they come by.
No, they really don't. And it's funny.
It's just more crap on my windshield, right?
The fact is, it's the only kind of continental weather we ever get here. I grew up in Texas where you get cold fronts. I mean, it'll be 80 degrees at 2 o'clock, and it'll be 50 by the time you go to sleep. So these shear lines are actually kind of that same thing, but Guam style. So it's just a chance for us to reinforce those winds and get some of that drier and nicer air in here because we're going to have a whole lot of hot later on this year.
Isn't that groovy? All right, it's 6:14 in the morning. That's news and weather together brought to you by Bank Pacific. Where others put branches, they place roots.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
I'm digging the idea that for a year now I've been saying portions of the program brought to you by American President Lines. They're shipping the future Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your specialty care needs. And the guys over at Micronesia Renewable Energy, there's never been a better time to go solar.
Introducing Exchanged, Guam's first online and mobile remittance to the Philippines.
Exchanged is the easiest and fastest way to send money to your family and friends anywhere in the Philippines. Download the Exchanged app or visit their website, exchange.me. Sign up, remit, and get a chance to win a trip for 2 to Manila. Deluxe accommodations at the Belmont Hotel at Resorts World Manila. So sign up and remit now at Exchange. Promo ends March 2nd, 2019. Conditions apply. Also avail of Exchange dollar to remit promo. Visit exchange.me for details. You have got to try the spaghetti over at Wendy's. What? Spaghetti at Wendy's? What is this kind of craziness? What strange planet did I wake up on where they have spaghetti at Wendy's? It's a planet Guam, I guess. And so here's what the deal is. They have now got it snack size, meal size. Snack size for $3.49 and meal size for $6.49. Go with the meal size. You'll thank me for this later because you don't want to run out when you're just getting into the flavor. That zesty sauce and the seasoned ground beef and the spaghetti noodles that they've got in there. It really is good. I tried it the other night. Want to get some more tonight? You do it too at Wendy's.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters.
Sean Gumatautau from the judiciary of Guam. The governor of Guam, Eddie Jerome Baza Calvo. Former governor, Carl T.C. Gutierrez. Speaker B.J. Cruz. John Fernandez of the Department of Education. The Attorney General of the island of Guam, Elizabeth Barrett Anderson.
I have total faith that I have no idea for any of this stuff. I denied that it was coming from us, so I don't want to discuss it anymore. Frank, you lost. Move on.
Yes, that's what they say in the release. I just find it difficult to believe that a $14 million tax liability over 3 years is something that can just be overlooked. I'm of the mind that these are just product that's been sold that was just underreported and
on purpose.
When it became, I don't want to jump to conclusions.
Shouldn't there be some grander, more grandiose title to go along with that grandiose salary?
They do a lot. There's, we do a lot of work, and I'm not going to. You can't.
Just asking. I mean.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
That song very, very appropriate here in the interstitials with a couple of home runs that we managed to hit in the first year of the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3. The Point. It is today is the anniversary of the inaugural of the program. Is there more?
It's the day that you were born. It's the day your mama brought you home. It's a special day. Let us celebrate.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Anyway, so welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. It is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. And my name is Ray Gibson, and joined by colleagues Michael Knight, who's been pushing the buttons for every morning for the last, even mornings when I'm not here. He's still in there pushing the buttons. And thanks very much for your participation. Of course, the news portion of the program, and what I like to consider the legitimate part of it, comes from Kevin Kerrigan and his colleagues over at the Guam Daily Post. Great to be Mike's side with you all year. I get it. When we were first starting to talk about doing the program, part of the idea was that I would be here in the studio and Kevin would be in a whole other studio. Just kind of over there. He'd have access to all of his own equipment and be able to, whatever sound bites and scripts and printing and things like that. Since day one, you've been here in the studio with me.
Right, that's too far away over there.
This studio is closer to
where the
men's
fun
room.
is.
And it is where the fun is, isn't it? And it has been a good time. So today, the anniversary, sort of the launch of the Ray Gibson Show. I guess it was, February 2nd of
That's
last
right,
year.
yeah,
All
technically speaking.
So,
yeah.
but I'm not coming to work tomorrow.
I
There's
will,
5K.
but not on this show.
Right. You've got your other thing going on the other side. Anyway, so we got a few things lined up for you. I want to, the first thing that I want to do is say thanks very much to a longtime listener and friend, Juanita Machi. And Juanita sent over this morning, last night, I don't know when it came in. It was here in the studio when I got in this morning, a delightful bouquet of congratulations congratulatory bouquet of our favorite island flowers out here. Congratulations, Ray, on your first anniversary on air. Thank you, Juanita Machi, for remembering. Below that sign, if you're watching on Facebook Live, there is it's one of those Bluetooth gizmos. You remember the one that we gave away to the winner of our football pick'ems deal?
That's right.
Yeah. So as it turns out, I got another one. So I'm going to rely on my producer Michael Knight at some point to remind me to do some kind of contest related to some kind of news story that we've got, and then I'll give that away to one of our incredible listeners.
So what you're saying is I don't get to drink rum this morning.
What? I didn't say that. I don't know why you draw that inference there from some simple request here to just remind me about something. We had 3.5, 4 hours left in the program. It's somewhere in there. I've got to do the actual giveaway. At any rate, let me jump back on the camera here on Facebook Live and do what has become about my favorite part of the broadcast.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
6:22, and it's like family now. Ismael is there. I see Mark Mendiola and happily accepting his happy anniversary wishes. My old pal Mark Cruz, Bandit, Ed Buendicho, Heather Perez, Juanita Machi, and thanks again so much for the consideration and the flowers. Lynn Vince Borja Polino says good morning for a happy anniversary. Couldn't have had productive mornings without you. Thanks very much. Appreciate. I don't know how productive you can get. Some people tell me it's like you got to listen to every single word because you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. And the truth is, I almost never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I think it's a fun experience every morning. Exactly. One foot on a banana peel and the other foot in a grave. Tony Annette and Pinko Adas there. Alicia Canatis wishing us a happy anniversary. Rico Blancaflor, happy anniversary. Ray, Kevin, Michael, Blake, and the gang at the point. Go Patriots! Oh, yeah, we got to start. I guess we should start talking about the Super Bowl. I've got Alicia Canata there, John St. Nicholas, and his anniversary wishes, and Jane Pareto Sasai. Thanks so much for your wishes and the kisses and hugs. Greg Massey, happy birthday, Point Crew. Hey, you've been a part of the program as well. Adita Camarillo, and she's sending her greetings. John Ray Titano, Biba Cumpleaños, Point Crew. Rod Rose Greeno, Melina Montanonia, Dick Clark, Lillian Cruz, Dion Shinahara, and this is great because these are names I've been reading all for the last year since we started doing this particular brand of broadcasting. Cousin Tommy Marcinus is there, Linda Gabriel and John St. Nicholas, Keith Parsky in Washington, D.C., saying, Bro, are you back at work? Bro, are you on the job? Is Trump sending you a paycheck anytime soon? Pat and Norma Jean Flores and Diana Rose, all the way in Washington State, where it's cold and rainy and snotty. You should come over here. We have snotty weather as well, but it's not as cold. Andy Tidinko and Anita Mofness with her Valentine's eyes are there. Keith Parsky, a powerhouse of news and infotainment. Congratulations. Matt Cruz and Sean Gumatautas is happy first anniversary. So glad to be a part of the show over the years. Well, Shawnee, you've been a friend of mine over the years, so it's just natural that you'll be here. I see Jack Bucas and who else is there? Tony Babauta. Tony Babauta, Tony Babauta from the governor's office. The governor's chief of staff is online with us this morning. Movers, shakers, headline makers, including, as I said, Robert Underwood, Uncle Robert Underwood, who may at some point call in and sing happy belated birthday to Mike St. Nicholas. Or maybe not. I don't know what's going to be happening with that. There's another old broadcaster, James Joyce, is there. Charlene Marchessault is on. James out in Lemoore, North Dakota. Mark Mendiola. Happy birthday / anniversary! You make us proud. As the last of as you and Auntie Annie are the last of any of the adults that had anything to do with raising me. So knowing that I make you proud fills me with equal amounts of pride. What else we got here? Helen Field Nishihara, nice to see you there. Jordine Nicole Titano is online this morning. Jennifer Post Schnitger, happy anniversary! Was so happy last year to hear you back on the radio. Ken LG, the other governor, Leon Guerrero. I see the Circus Maximus is opening strong. my townhouse open? What are you trying to say there, Ken? A bunch of folks, thanks so much for being a part of the broadcast over the year. And I'd love to be able to say that in the days and weeks leading up to this anniversary celebration, and it's not just today. We're going to be doing, all kinds of stuff for the month. We'll be bringing people in and talking about. Actually, we're going to do all of the things that we would normally do, but refer to it as part of our anniversary month celebration here. And it's also brought to you, as you can tell, we got the little gizmo on the screen here. The Point celebrates 1 year. Special thanks to Take Care. So it's good to have Greg and his people out there. Uncle Carl is online, wishing us congratulations. It is anyway. So I was going to say in the days and weeks and months coming up to this, we pondered all of the different things that we could be doing in the coming year of this broadcast, and there are a couple of other things that we've got planned. Adding technology to the broadcast has been fun. We've got the WhatsApp deal 988-5874, and I got a couple of. I use the WhatsApp thing. There are things that I see, and I go, you know what, I want to use this on the air, and I will bounce it to our WhatsApp so it's available to me in the morning. So you can do the same thing. 988-5874 if you see something interesting, some interesting memes or videos or audio, or just a fun text message you'd like to send to us to keep us on our toes. 988-5874. Phone numbers 888-8255. That's 888-TALK. And like I said, Mike is happy to get the phone when you call on that. And I suppose there could be some fun stuff that we get to talk about today. I mean, right here off the table of contents, I haven't yet had a chance to make it all the way through the 27 pages of the Bill 32-35 relative to regulating the use, production, sale, and taxation of marijuana. Adding a new Chapter 9 to Division 1, Title 11 GCA, relative to creating the Cannabis Control Board, declassifying marijuana as a Schedule I controlled substance, and redefining references to it in the Guam Uniform Controlled Substances Act.
I ain't high, I'll tell you that, man. I don't feel nothing, man.
I thought it was real slick of Clint, to put that there and say, we're facing a stagnant economy, and this is a way to boost the money, instead of saying what he really wanted to say, probably, which is, after being in this room with these people, I really need to smoke a bowl.
Can you? Yeah. Just get me something from Palau, and we'll put it on the screen and light it up. And
well done, Clint.
So here's let me just offer my congratulative sentiment here to Clint Rigel. I'm sure we'll find a way to talk with him this morning about this, for having the good sense. Of not trying to be clever about this and introduce it on April the 20th.
That's right.
Every other Yahoo would have said, yeah, we've got marijuana legislation, but we're going to wait until 4/20, dude.
Well, that's when the release came out yesterday.
Is that what time it came out yesterday? I don't know, because he sent me a thing. He was asking what my email address was. I didn't look at the time that it came out. You're kidding, really? So, all right, a little bit of cleverness. I'm sorry. I totally.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, because I was going to say it was so subtle, I missed it. The cleverness was subtle, so I missed it. Anyway, so 420. No, not 420. It's 32-35 is the piece of legislation. It's not very, very weighty as I'm looking through it. It's got the usual, once upon a time in the front of it, and then we go into definitions. And what I'm primarily interested in seeing is what the connection is, how the government of Guam is going to be able to tax certain portions of this, because one of the first things that it allows for is for Kevin and Raymond and Mike to be able to have up to 6 plants growing in our house.
Yeah.
So how are we, and that's for my own personal consumption. Obviously, I'm not going to be selling that. I'm not going to take it to any kind of pharmacy or dope store. And so, but I guess maybe there are going to be some people that do. To what degree is that going to be a big deal, right?
Right. Well, and it opens up the the commercial sale of the plant, and so you really won't even have to grow it, because it will be available probably in a regulated store at far cheaper than what it is right now. And you talked about 420, but that's why they filed bill now, so it'll get passed on 420.
On 40. I don't know. I've got to read the whole thing, and maybe Clint can explain to me where that connection is. You're right. Maybe there's going to be a lot of people that prefer to grow their own, the same way that there are people that will brew their own beer. right? You know, we got these little craft houses, and then there might be some people that say, you know what, I want to be in the business of growing this for mass consumption, and so I'll put together the growing area, and then somebody else can put together a lab because you know, and the theory is because it's going to be for sale, because we will offer this for consumption on a retail basis to someone. We need to put together a lab, and because that's a bigger market, there might be more people enticed to come out here and build this lab to assure safety and purity of the product and all of those things that they're supposed to be looking at. At any rate, so that's you know, the couple of the notes that I've made. No more than 6 plants are possessed, cultivated, or processed at a single residence or upon the grounds of that residence at any one time. So you got an opportunity to grow 6 of your own if you've got the seeds. Okay, but just FYI, you can't do it now. You got to wait until they actually have a conversation, a public hearing. Don't just run out there now and start growing marijuana in the house. You got to wait until it actually becomes some kind of a law. And then there's an excise tax that they're talking about, and this is we're going to put together a little bit more government on this. Daryl Taggarty may have a thought on this or two. The Cannabis Control Board will be established, and it shall consist of 5 members who are appointed by and serve at the pleasure of the Magahagan Guahan. 1 member shall be the Director of the Department of Revenue and Taxation. 1 member shall be the Director of the Department of Agriculture. Members shall represent the Guam business community, and 2 members shall represent the general public. And at least 1 member of the general public shall possess a medical cannabis card. What about the Youth Congress? Can we have somebody from the Youth? You know, there might be something in there that refers to the Youth Congress, but I haven't seen it yet. So we'll take a look and see. Drug-free zone. There's a whole bunch of this stuff, and you know, in between newscasts and weathercasts and stuff like that, I'll pour into all of the rest of it and see if there's anything interesting for you. In the meantime, it's 6:32, almost 6:33. We got to jump into headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, a survey of the island's homeless population conducted last week shows a slight increase in the number of homeless compared to previous years. The Guam Homeless Coalition conducted the survey. The preliminary results show 873 people are homeless on island, compared to 854 last year and 852 in 2017. Of the 873 counted this year, 765 were living without shelter, meaning they spent the night in a public or private place not designed for or ordinarily used as a regular sleeping accommodation. The survey was conducted on January 25th. About 250 volunteers helped in the annual point-in-time homeless count. In district court yesterday, a representative from the U.S. Trustee Program reported that he's moving forward with plans to form a committee of creditors for the Archdiocese of Agana bankruptcy case. Assistant U.S. Trustee Curtis Ching took part in the hearing via video conference link from his office in Honolulu. By law, the U.S. Trustee Office oversees the administration of bankruptcy cases. Ching told Chief District Court Judge Francis Tadenko Gatewood that he will meet with creditors and form a committee to carry out the requirements of the Archdiocese bankruptcy case. The committee will be made up of plaintiff attorneys who will be able to hire their own bankruptcy counsel. 2 weeks ago, the Archdiocese filed a petition for reorganization under Chapter 11 of the Bankruptcy Code. In its filing, the Archdiocese listed $22.9 million in assets and $45.6 million in liabilities. However, that liability figure is expected to increase dramatically because there are 202 sex abuse lawsuits, and each claimant is seeking $5 million on average in damages. 43-year-old John Unchenko was sentenced to 5 years of probation yesterday under the plea agreement he signed with the Attorney General's office. Unchenko was charged with possession of about 2 grams of an amphetamine-based substance after being pulled over by police in Astumbo Gardens. He was facing a maximum 3-year prison term. Unchenko's wife, Luciana, is still awaiting sentencing on drug charges still pending in federal court after she pled guilty to selling meth near an elementary school in Denado. She was present in Superior Court yesterday for her husband's change of plea. Superior Court of Guam Judge Anita Sokola warned Unchenko that he could be sentenced to the full 3-year term if he violates the conditions of his plea agreement. Judge Sokola told the couple, "You guys are still under a microscope." For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's 6:35, almost 6:36. That's iConnect time. There's at iConnectGuam.com on the World Wide Web. Find them and ask about the great plans that they've got for you for 2019. Internet, push-to-talk, even mobile plans. Yeah, at iConnect.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Right now, traffic is looking pretty good. Looking at the north side of the island, don't see too much that's going to be slowing you down. There might be a little bit of traffic building southbound before you get to the intersection of 1 and 3, but it should be smooth after that. Nothing happening on 3 itself. Route 10's looking pretty good. Route 8 is looking pretty good, and Marine Corps Drive all the way into the downtown area is looking good. Traffic beginning to build up between Ordot and Sinahanya, so watch out for that. But it is not going to be slowing you down. I'm just saying there's cars on the road, I think is the notice here. 6:37 in the morning. Don't see anything down at Big Navy. Don't see anything in front of Navy Hospital or Anderson Air Force Base right now. So if you want to get to work and get a head start on the weekend, I'd split now. 6:37 and right now traffic on the point.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Morning talk that matters. It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Hey, look, there's Eunice Mendiola on Facebook Live. Bob Lizama, Carl Fukuda Jr. Lady D is online saying, good morning, everybody. And I think she's referencing the conversation about recreational marijuana, adult use over 21, virtually without restrictions, saying, well, it's about time. It's about time, and there's a bunch of other people that are I think, are going to chime in along similar veins here. Bruce Johnson says, congrats on your anniversary. Here's to many more. Thanks, I appreciate that. Carl Fukuda's plan, tax the buds, leaves will be untaxed. Ray Tsotfrus is online this morning. Deborah Wise, and I like this message. She writes, happy first anniversary. I enjoy mornings with you, Ray, and Kevin and Michael. I'm so glad Ray came back on the radio and all the good things that mean for Guam and your international audience. Thank you, Ray. Well, thank you, Deborah. Melissa Sawasaki-Moto is online saying, Biba, Ramona Nakamura, Doris Mendiola, Rai St. and there'll be people coming back and forth as the course of the morning progresses. And if I haven't said it yet, welcome to Friday. Have you got a plan for the weekend? Are you working on something that is going to be, the word I like to use is epic. And I've told you this 100 times if I've told you once. There's a camera. Most of you have a smartphone device. There is a camera attached to it, and there ought to be about 5 or 6 excuses this weekend, this morning, for you to take a picture. Just snap a picture of you doing something fun and enjoying life. You know, I got the guy, Michael Knight, tell you all about the weather that we're going to be enjoying over the next, 3 days, 4 days, something like that. Doesn't look like there's going to be anything awful to slow us down. So make some outside plans or driving around plans. You get gas at $3.89 for a gallon of it. And you know, you ought to take advantage of it while it's still as low as it is to start driving around. I know people that won't go any further than a few traffic lights because gas is so expensive. I don't want to go south. I don't want to go south because it costs so much in the gas. Well, go south. and check the place out. When's the last time anybody? When was the last? As an example, huh? When's the last time that that you were anywhere near Cocos Island? You know, I'm not saying you have to go to Cocos Island. I'm just saying get down there, get near the place, because it's gorgeous around this time of year. And you get that the color of the ocean. That makes a nice picture, and that makes a nice background. So do something epic. Jump into life at some point where you can here this morning. So table of contents on the anniversary program here. Marijuana as economic stimuli, because that's what he's talking about. Front page of the Guam Daily Post. It is the top story. Weed industry proposed to boost the stagnant economy. It wasn't that long ago that in fact, yesterday I was talking with Dr. Claire Ruane at the University of Guam, and she was talking about how things this year for Guam business-wise, limited growth, flat maybe, and you go, wow. I was kind of hoping it would be better for Guam in 2019, but there's a lot of factors out there, a lot of stuff in our force fields that are going to be affecting us. And maybe this might be a thing that we can look at. Clint Rigel introducing a bill that would legalize the sale, use, and commercial manufacture of marijuana and cannabis products on Guam without requiring some kind of medicinal backup. So essentially, you'd be able to grow your own. Up to 6 plants in the house is what he's talking about. Can't be able to see him from the street. I mean, some of the rules that you get for the medicinal marijuana game are also in this legislation as well. It doesn't want anybody to know that you've got marijuana in the house, because they'll break in and steal it from you. On the other hand, if everybody can grow marijuana in the house, why would somebody break in and steal it from you? Because they can grow it at their house. Grow it in the closet over at my place. So where are the economic upsides going to be from this? You got a thought about it? 888-8255, 888-TALK. Lady D says, if marijuana became legalized, it's money that Guam needs.
Tax it.
Tax it. Tax it on the sales of it. Not everybody that wants to smoke marijuana is going to live here and grow their own. There are going to be people coming in. I imagine young people from all over Asia are going to be coming to Guam because they might want to try the stuff. And the same way that Guam is in a strategic location, really just ponder this now, the same way that Guam is in some kind of a strategic location for business, for the military and things like that, you know, Guam could become the literal, what's the word I'm looking for? The cannabis melting pot, if you will. We'd be able to take in some of the great strains from Palau and see what they're coming up with in Rota and Tinian and Saipan, and bring all of those things in here. There will be guys with green thumbs and advanced green thumbs that will be able to create new and different varietals of the cannabis product. Maybe something that's unique to Guam, maybe something that is going to be attractive to tourists that will come out here, or people that just want to become, and I can see it happen. I'll bet you it already happens in the States. I'll bet you in places in the States where they are already selling marijuana out of these dispensaries. So I'm sure that there are already cannabis snobs. Right? Oh, no, this is the one that you want to try to relax you. This is the one that you want to try if you want to get mellow with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or something like that. This is the one that you want to try before you watch Cayenne Scotzi, if you'll recall. And so my guess is that there will probably be guys around here that will start doing that as well.
Absolutely. I mean, the different strains offer different combinations.
Yes.
Say, for instance, if you find a marijuana that's like equal parts CBD and THC, that's a very therapeutic particular strain.
Yes.
That's good for treating anxieties and other things.
So there'll be yoga dope.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If you were going to yoga, this is the marijuana. You just want a couple of puffs of this before you get into your yoga thing, and it will loosen up your body, and it will flex out your mind, and you will have the absolute best yoga session in the whole wide world.
Imagine marathon dope.
The Amsterdam, yeah, that's exactly the idea. Lady D gets it. The Amsterdam of the Pacific Ocean. Just all of these different things that could be coming in here, and so there will be places up and down Tumont. I can already see them. They look like surf stores now, but my guess is you get some of these places up and down Pleasure Island, and so we're going to throw the skateboard stuff out. We'll throw the surfing stuff out, and all of that, and that's all we're going to do in there. Is we're just going to have vials of little glass vials of different kinds of marijuana that we're going to sell. So the question is, where are we going to price them? I don't know. I don't know if anybody's done the spreadsheet work on this, and I know people that they've already got the mental thing going. So already got the rent is going to cost this much, and the fees to the government of Guam are going to cost this much. This is what, and what's the tax? I don't know that it's in here yet. Kevin, do you know if they put a number on how much they're going to be taxing this marijuana at retail?
I don't think there is a figure in there.
At least 5, right? I mean, it's going to be at least 5%. I mean, that's the business privilege tax that these guys are going to pass on.
We shall see.
But is there another tax? Is there the special marijuana tax? So that's what we've got in my mind. That's what we've got to be very careful in what we do and in how we market this product, because at the end of it, it still has to be accessible. It should still be competitive with what you can buy from the kid that lives down the street or the house up the street, you know, that has people coming and going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it should be competitive with that, unless we're talking about, you know, some kind of premium varietal, right? I mean, whatever it is that they're selling up the street probably is not going to be as primo as what you're going to be able to get in the stores. So what's the upside going to be for the government of Guam on the sale of an ounce or a pound or an individual stick of marijuana? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. You know, if somebody's growing in their backyard, why are they going to pay a tax?
Go to the store.
Yeah.
Well, so the tourists.
So who's going to go to their home and collect the tax? I mean,
well, so there, and I don't know that that's going to be in there. So you and I could grow our own dope, right? Yeah. And it would be, you know, the Kevin line, the Ray line, right? But let's say that Mike has a really good one. But Mike has one of these licensed dispensaries. He's been growing it. He's been cataloging it. He's been testing it in the store, and he's paying rent. And he's got, you know,
why would I buy it from
top.
Mike if I can get it from my neighbor?
Because Mike will have a different. Mike will have the Pineapple Express of marijuana at his place. Yeah. So and you can't grow that.
It does raise the question of what's the upside for
what
Gov Guam.
Yeah. And how are they going to manage that?
Exactly.
And listen, considering we haven't gotten the manpower to go to the bingo places and collect taxes. We haven't got the manpower to be able to make sure that we're getting the right numbers out of these gambling devices. You know, how are we going to make sure that outside of a business privilege tax, whatever the additional is going to be? Heck, remember that it was the Department of Revenue Tax walked away from $14 million on a lien not that long ago, and that's cigarettes. And we've known about controlling cigarettes smoking and taxing that around here for a bunch of years. 648, and speaking of instituting those kinds of controls, very close, very dear personal friend B.J. Cruz at the Office of Public Accountability in the last day or so has put out their calendar year 2019 annual work plan. And in consultation with members of the staff over at the Public Auditor and the Office of Public Accountability, it looks like there's going to be additional performance audits in 2019, including use tax collection. And I don't know about you, but have you noticed that they have been getting busy on the use tax? We had been contacted by the Department of Revenue and Taxation recently, and it had to do with it was around business license renewal time, and they said, yeah, we'd be happy to renew your business license, but we've got this little wrinkle here in the process. You bought some equipment from a manufacturer, and it came to Guam, but you didn't pay the use tax on it. And I said, because nobody gave me an invoice to pay the use tax on it. And so they came back and they said there's going to be, you got to pay the use tax, and you're going to have to pay the penalties and the fees and the interest and all of that. And I went back to them and said, no, this is your problem. You did not issue any notice to pay any kind of use tax. I'll be happy to pay it, but you can't hit me with late fees and penalties because you didn't hit me with the notice at the time. Fortunately, they agreed over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. So I know that they're stepping up on use tax collections, but how much else is out there? So if you are business on Guam and maybe it's up for renewal time for you, take a look at some of the inventory that you've got in from the state, some large-ish equipment purchases that you've made and make sure that at least set aside some money for a use tax on those things as they come in. The Public Auditor's Office is also going to be looking at short-term vacation rentals. That's the B&Bs, which has been a problem. $24 million in revenue that the folks over at the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association believe is just moving through the system, not getting taxed, because nobody is signing up for licenses and nobody is coming forward to pay. The smart money on that is there probably needs to be some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Put some kind of bounty on these B&Bs, and the neighbors will call the Department of Revenue and Taxation and say, yeah, I've got a B&B 2 houses down. All kinds of people coming and going, and nobody stays any longer than a couple of weeks. I think I've got an unlicensed hotel in my neighborhood. So can you come by and come and either shut them down or collect the taxes on it? They're also going to be looking at hotel occupancy tax collections, the Cancer Treatment Fund, expenditures for charter schools. My friend John Fernandez and Mark Mendiola are going to be excited to see that they're going to be taking a look at that, considering that the money for the charter schools comes from DOE's budget. GVB's Tourist Attraction Fund will also be a target of performance audits, autonomous agencies, and their legal fees. Ooh. Here's a conversation that goes back to Ray Gibson shows even before last year, before I got over here to this radio station. Legal fees for the autonomous agencies. How much are autonomous agencies spending for independent counsel? And you'll say, yeah, well, it's the airport or the Port of Guam, and they need to have very specific port-related legal guys. No, it just got at the port. This is just Mike Phillips. I don't know that Mike has any specific maritime expertise. In fact, if you ask him, I think he'll tell you. No, but I know other lawyers that have got the specific maritime expertise. You go to the airport of Guam. Who's their attorney? John Calvo? And
at the airport?
Yeah. I don't think he's got any specific, FAA airline kind of airport legal expertise. He's just their legal guy. I think if it came down to some kind of aviation administration questions, he'd probably say, here's a guy in D.C., call him. So how much additional are these autonomous agencies of the government of Guam spending on their legal that might be able to be done better if they had their own internal counsel or were using the Attorney General's office is a question that has been going back since Doug Moylan was the first elected Attorney General on Guam. Government-wide, they're going to be looking at travel per diem and expenses. Governor's office. Well, maybe not this governor's office, because I don't know to what degree they're burdening the Guam Police Department with fees and the cost of protection. Guam Fire Department's going to get a long, loving look on their ambulance services, parent-teacher organizations with the Department of Revenue and Taxation, and receipts and disbursements. And specifically, they're going to be targeting the Mayor's Council of Guam in this one to make sure, because it's come up in the past, especially with things like liberation, where it's kind of loosey-goosey on where the money is coming from, who authorizes the spend, and where it got spent at, and what it got spent on. So I think there are going to be some interesting audits that are going to be part of what they're doing over at the Office of Public Accountability moving forward. 6:53 in the morning. Let me see what folks are writing about on the Facebook Live. I went into kind of a long rant on regulations and marijuana, recreational marijuana, and that got a couple of people going. Ken LG says we need to find a very, very good strain of dope here on Guam, and we'll call it Chamorro Express to ride along with the success of the movie Pineapple Express, which we're all going to have to find a way to watch this weekend, because frankly I forgot the plot. I remember it was something about this super primo weed called Pineapple Express, and that's I think all I remember about it. Regulations run same as alcohol. Senators going after what's popular and not what's practical. How will you tax something if it is not regulated properly? Opening for everyone to be able to grow their own invites the government into your home to conduct audits to ensure that you're only growing your limit. But also take into consideration that it is still a drug, and if you're a public servant, you aren't authorized to use it. Yeah, so it's the minutia of the conversation that we have here on Guam, and you know what? Oregon figured it out. and Colorado figured it out, and there's all kinds of other places across the country that have figured it out and are either looking the other way on that or have found ways to carve out and carve in a variety of exemptions. If I'm growing marijuana, if I'm growing marijuana at the house, do I need to go to the Department of Revenue and Taxation or the Department of Agriculture and tell them I'm growing marijuana? Because I don't think I see that in the regulations so far. So how will they know? How will the government know that I'm only growing 6? What if, because I'm like this, I like to resist authority wherever I can. Oh yeah, the law says 6. I'm going to grow a 7th. I'll have 6 in a cluster in a special room that I'll designate as my marijuana growing room. But then I'll have another one, and it will look like a house plant. I'll have it underneath the air conditioner in the bedroom. No one will know except me. And then the guy will come over to the house, knock on the door, and do I have to let them in? Will there be inspectors, or will it be one of those things where, you know what, if in the course of another investigation we find that you are growing 7 marijuana plants and you didn't buckle your seatbelts and you talk and you use your hand on with the phone while you're driving, I think it's going to be one of those things where they're not really going to look unless you've done something stupid and actually stupid enough to let the police into your house.
You sound like you think that these agencies actually inspect things they're supposed to anyway. Department of Health can't even inspect restaurants on a steady schedule, so you will probably never see anybody.
And that's a long-term problem. You're absolutely right. That's a long-term problem that we have had. We've got a zillion restaurants around here. We've got a zillion places to cook food and to raise cockroaches, but only a handful of these inspectors. And hopefully, you know, I at least hope that when we hear about places like Lee Gardens getting shut down, it puts the level of awareness for restaurants all over the island, but in particular that area, that they might be among those that get inspected next. But I think with the Lee Garden, that one was not necessarily like a random, here come, you know, somebody knocking on the door from public health.
It's generally complaints.
Yeah, it's a complaint. Somebody says, I saw a cockroach on the floor or the kitchen. You know, I passed by the kitchen and it smelled like ORDOT dump, and so maybe you guys need to go in there and inspect it. For the most part, that's how those things get affected.
Staying in the subject, though, and you talk about Oregon and Colorado, man, you're comparing apples to oranges. They have the manpower that we simply do not have here on Guam.
Don't disagree. Don't disagree. There will be a scaling issue here that we're going to have to look at. So, and I think that in my mind was one of the original problems that we had with the original medicinal marijuana legislation. There was so much to it. It was just so weighty, and there were so many components and dimensions on this thing. It just occurred to me that we don't have the government the size to be able to do something like this. So I'm thinking scale this thing back. Maybe 24, 25 pages is the right length of the legislation to provide to the body as they go through all of this stuff. Simply because, hey, dude, it's Guam. We're laid back. It's 160,000 people here. How many of them are going to indulge in the marijuana? How many so far have signed up for medicinal marijuana? Right? I mean, it's not this huge number. Look at, as Joanne Brown says, at the end of the day, it still, to me, looks like a solution out looking for a problem. Medicinal marijuana. And there were signs in the streets. Yes, medicinal cannabis today. It's for my health. Put for what? And they finally get around to doing something. Eddie signs Luis Munoz her deal, and now there's what, 5 or 6 people who've signed up. You know, we talked to the one guy.
Mostly because you can't find doctors here who will do the card. They want to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, you know, I don't think that's what's holding things up. I just think there's, you know, a lot of people going, yeah, you know, I'm already seeing a doctor and he's giving me real drugs and these things actually do help. And you know, I'm not one of those guys that believes the hype that smoking marijuana is going to cure cancer. Debbie says, I wish the legalization would mean it would be legal for more medical research on the effects of using marijuana on different systems of the body, both long-term and short-term, the way we know about the effects of everything from eating oranges to taking aspirins. I'll take that idea a step further, Deborah, and say that because of our unique genetics around here, the unique genetics of the Chamorro people, I believe that there's a great research opportunity that we've got to see the effects of different varieties of marijuana on Pacific Island DNA and Pacific Island genetics. There's a thought, and maybe there's a big pharma company that might be interested in looking at exactly that. You got to be kidding. All right, first hour's done? Huh. All right, let me see if I can scratch some more surfaces in the next hour of the program. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. This is KUSG. Take Care brings you the Point's first anniversary celebration all month long. Fox News Live is next.
The Commander-in-Chief on the defense. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump says time will prove him right on foreign policy.
So I just tell you that we are doing really well. Our military is being rebuilt. It's very close to being rebuilt.
Insisting there has been progress on threats, including North Korea, as he answered reporters' questions today about comments from intelligence chiefs earlier in the week that seemed to contradict some of the president's positions. The planned withdrawal from Syria raising bipartisan concern on Capitol Hill, where Fox's Jared Halpern is live.
A bipartisan majority of senators just voted to support a resolution opposing a precipitous withdrawal of U.S. forces from Syria and Afghanistan. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell authored the amendment to a broader Middle East policy bill sanctioning Syria and providing security assistance to Israel. McConnell has warned about al-Qaeda and ISIS's continued presence in Afghanistan and Syria. The resolution is non-binding, but it does highlight a public divide between President Trump's foreign policy and more hawkish members of the Republican Party. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. A slow thaw is on the way from the Midwest to the Northeast, but not quite yet. Fox's Jeff Manasso, live in Chicago.
Lisa, it still feels like 22 below in Minneapolis, minus 21 here in Chicago, where the cold has left normally busy streets largely empty, except for a brave few.
I had to buy my new jacket because of the cold.
Yeah, back home our toilet's plugged, the bathtub doesn't work, so I left my wife and 4 kids with a disaster.
There are still power outages and gas outages in multiple states, and complicating things, we're expecting several inches of snow tonight across the Great Lakes before the warm-up of a high near 20 tomorrow. That means liftoff for grounded flights and the kids back in school. Lisa.
Jeff, thanks. This is Fox News.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
As the immigration debate simmers in Washington, there's a shuffle to the front of the line for a certain kind of visa.
A few months before the lottery for the coveted H-1B visa, an overhaul by the Trump administration intended to boost the number awarded to those with a master's degree or higher from U.S. colleges and universities. Typically, international students looking to remain in the U.S. manage to snag a portion of the visas intended for jobs requiring specialized knowledge. The change this year, a blow to candidates with only bachelor's degrees. Critics say a loss of foreign employees in the tech sector could result in amped-up competition from overseas companies, because that's where many of those graduates would end up.
Fox's Lillian Wu. A sweeping reform plan for Chicago police winning approval from a federal judge. The court-supervised reforms, which include verbal warnings before use of force, better training and supervision, comes nearly 2 years after the Justice Department found a history of civil rights violations by Chicago officers, a review that began after the 2015 release of a video from the killing of Laquan McDonald, who was shot 16 times. The new oversight plan includes an independent monitor to report back to the judge. A Grammy surprise.
Guess who's performing at the Grammys this year? Diana Ross, according to a tweet sent out by the Recording Academy, saying, "We're thrilled to announce a very special Grammys performance by Diana Ross. We will be honoring her landmark career and contributions to music with a special 75th Diamond Diana birthday performance. The Grammys airing live from the Staples Center in L.A. on CBS February 10th. I'm Jacqueline Carl, Fox News.
Mixed finish on Wall Street. The Dow down 6 points at the closing bell, but still over 25K. The S&P and the NASDAQ higher. And Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Guam Regional Medical City. We bring the healthcare advances of the world directly to you. We are an acute care hospital that complements your needs with our robust outpatient specialty clinics. From preventative care to critical care, we strive for consistent excellence at GRMC. Our core philosophy is where patients are partners, which means we work as a team to make a healthier version of you. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for our all-new Ultimate Cheesy Garlic Bread. How would you like it?
I'll take a skeptical grandma.
Set in her ways?
A smidge.
Grandma, try this Ultimate Meatball Marinara made with Ultimate Cheesy Garlic Bread. Melted mozzarella, Parmesan, garlic butter spread. It's just like yours.
Like mine? My grandmother's recipe?
Try it.
You know, my grandmother's cheesy garlic bread was never all that.
Subway, make it what you want. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Security Title is honored to sponsor Ray Gibson on The Point. In 2019, we resolved to continue our mission of protecting and ensuring the land and homes of our beautiful island. Additionally, we resolved to maintain our vital connection to our families and our community. Protehi Itanomo, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Freshman Senator Clint Rigel introducing a bill that would legalize the sale, use, and commercial manufacture of marijuana products on Guam without requiring a medical reason. Rigel says the aim of the Guam Cannabis Industry Act of 2019 is to create new jobs and generate more revenue for Guam. In a release, Rigel points out that a recent report projected stagnant economic growth for the island in the year ahead, and the cannabis industry would be a shot in the arm to stimulate the economy. Bill number 32 would allow adults aged 21 and older to personally cultivate, purchase, and use cannabis and cannabis products. The CNMI has already passed adult use legislation, and 10 states, as well as the District of Columbia, have done the same, says the senator, while 17 other states have recently introduced similar legislation to legalize cannabis. Andrea Pellicani, the managing partner for Grassroots Guam, said at first glance the bill appears to provide a good foundation for an industry that can diversify Guam's economy and provide safer options for both patients and adult personal use. However, her group needs more time to review details of the bill. A survey of the island's homeless population conducted last week shows a slight increase in the number of homeless compared to previous years. The Guam Homeless Coalition conducted the survey. The preliminary results show 873 people are homeless on island compared to 854 last year. Of the 873 counted this year, 765 were living without shelter, meaning that they spent the night in a public or private place not designed for or ordinarily used as a regular sleeping accommodation. The survey was conducted on January 25th. About 250 volunteers helped in the annual point-in-time homeless count. We'll have more news after this.
At Chili's, our burgers stack up with anyone's. Handcrafted to order, smashed to lock in flavor on a toasted brioche bun. Our burgers are all kinds of perfect. Choose from the Chili's Chili, the Mushroom Swiss, the Ultimate Bacon, or you know what? We dare you to take on the Boss Burger. Loaded with smoked brisket, rib meat, jalapeno cheddar sausage, and bacon. We may have really out-burgered ourselves. Our burgers are more than a handful, served with garlic dill pickles and fries. So hurry in today and enjoy our juicy, melty, yummy, handcrafted creations. Perfection between two buns. Chili's. more life happens here.
Attention homeowners, if you don't have a solar energy system on your roof from Micronesia Renewable Energy, now is the time to get one. MRE solar energy systems now come with battery storage for zero money down. This means that your home will have power even when the island power isn't available, like during power outages or during and after storms. The inconvenience of not having power for your home is a thing of the past. Don't be left in the dark. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
News time here at The Point is 10 minutes past 7 a.m. In district court yesterday, a representative from the U.S. Trustee Program reported that he's moving forward with plans to form a committee of creditors for the Archdiocese of Agana bankruptcy case. Assistant U.S. Trustee Curtis Ching took part in the hearing via video conference link from his office in Honolulu. By law, the U.S. trustee oversees the administration of bankruptcy cases. Ching told Chief District Court Judge Francis Tadenko Gatewood that he will meet with creditors and form a committee to carry out the requirements of the Archdiocese bankruptcy case. The committee will be made up of plaintiff attorneys who will be able to hire their own bankruptcy counsel. 2 weeks ago, the Archdiocese filed a formal petition for reorganization under Chapter 11 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code. In its filing, the Archdiocese listed $22.9 million in assets and $45.6 million in liabilities. However, that liability figure is expected to increase dramatically because there are 202 sex abuse lawsuits against the Archdiocese of Agana, and each claimant is seeking $5 million on average in damages. 43-year-old James John Unchenko sentenced to 5 years of probation yesterday in Superior Court under a plea agreement he signed with the Attorney General's office. Unchenko was charged with possession of about 2 grams of an amphetamine-based substance after being pulled over by police in Astumbo Gardens. He was facing a maximum 3-year prison term. Unchenko's wife, Luciana, is still awaiting sentencing on drug charges pending in federal court after she pleaded guilty to selling meth near an elementary school in Dededo. She was present in Superior Court yesterday for her husband's change of plea hearing. Superior Court of Guam Judge Anita Sokola warned Unchenko that he could still be sentenced to the full 3-year term if he violates the conditions of his plea agreement. Judge Sokola telling both Unchenkos that you guys are still under a microscope. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at weather.
I got you. It says mostly cloudy through tomorrow, becoming partly cloudy on Sunday with isolated light showers. Winds from the east, 15 to 20 miles an hour today, increasing 20 to 25 miles an hour through the weekend. Highs around 86 degrees and overnight lows of about 76 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:21 and sunrise tomorrow morning 6:47. Now it's been rising at 6:48 for about the last week or a couple of weeks. Yeah. And it is beginning to, as we move through the middle of the year, it's going to start rising earlier and earlier. And before you know it, it'll be the middle of summer, and it'll be coming up at 5:30.
About that, yeah. That's about what time it does. Yeah, and of course it's going to be setting later and later as well. So our days are slowly getting longer. Checking radar here right now. We've got well, there's just not a whole lot out there. Little streaks of rain caught up in the general flow. Looks like it's a kind of a east to west flow, but the showers are, they're kind of situated in a diagonal to the northeast.
Coming in
southwest.
cockeyed.
Yeah, it is. The stuff up to the north of us is actually the leading edge of the next shear line. It's a fairly weak one, though. It's just going to come on in and reinforce the atmosphere that's over us and kick those winds back up for the remainder of the weekend. So not much expected there. If you get a shower, you're lucky. There's just not a whole lot of coverage out there. Any of the blobage down to our south is inconsequential to us. That's going to move on over to the Philippines, and frankly, not going to bother them too much either. And we've got the shear line right up across the northern Marianas that we can kind of pick out there on the satellite picture. That'll go ahead and move on through and kind of dissipate as it does. And if you look up at the very top, up in the top right corner of the satellite picture here, you'll see another surge coming on down. And actually, my wife is up there into the Batanes Islands in north of the Philippines. They're going to enjoy that nice surge. It'll be much stronger when it gets gets to them before it gets to us here by sometime next week.
All right. Now remember, the winds are still up and it's kicking up. It might not be getting a whole lot by way of rain, but the winds are kicking up a lot of the surf. So there's a high surf advisory in effect until 6 o'clock tonight along north-facing reefs, and a high risk of rip currents through Saturday night along north and east-facing reefs. And at the Paseo yesterday afternoon, it was still churning, and it's around that time of year where there's so much churn over by the Paseo and the living Guam seal sign. It actually pushes the ocean up the Agana River. So if you're over at the Bank of Guam, that little footbridge that they've got in between Paradise Fitness and the Bank of Guam and Agana, you can actually see salt water coming through there. And the crazy thing is, it doesn't kill the tilapia.
Wow.
That's the devil's fish. It's 7:14. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
I see ya. And portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by my incredible friends and longtime sponsors, people like Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your specialty care needs. Micronesia Renewable Energy. And guys, thanks very much. I appreciate you signing up for another year on the program. Micronesia Renewable Energy, there's never been a better time to go solar. And American President Lines, they're shipping the future.
At the heart of everything we do is our mission to improve the life of every child. From mungy nennies to growing teens, they'll be in trusted hands at FHP Health Center, where we offer comprehensive pediatric services to nurture and protect your child's health from day one. Begin your little one's journey to good health at FHP with seasoned pediatricians and professional staff who hold decades of combined experience. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
I got 7:15 in the morning, and all this talk about marijuana is making me hungry. I'm getting the munchies just talking about it. Maybe a little bit later on, I'll scratch that itch with a trip to the nearest Wendy's, because Wendy's is now making spaghetti. We got your zesty Italian sauce. We got your seasoned ground beef. Who knows more about seasoning ground beef than the people over at Wendy's? I mean, nobody. The cows might know how to season themselves better, but Wendy's does a really good job of it. And they do the spaghetti noodles just right. I was expecting them, because I figured it's just like fast food spaghetti, so I thought it was going to be a little bit soggy. But when I got it, it was like it was cooked in the restaurant, a really good restaurant, where they know when to take the spaghetti noodle out, so there's still a little bit of al dente, a little bit of tooth on it, and it's really terrific. $3.49 for the snack size, but we're not snack people, are we? We want the whole meal. $6.49 at Wendy's. Yeah.
I just imagined in my head a cow laying in a pasture with a long stick of pepper shaker, just kind of shaking it on himself.
Look at me! Look at me!
So seasoned.
Old Bay. I need some Old Bay. I'll rub myself with Old Bay before we go to the slaughterhouse. 7:17, and what have I got coming up? We'll take a look at the markets next.
Bringing you closer to the action. Any speaker, anytime. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
All right, there's on the marijuana thing and marijuana as an economic stimuli. That's the question that I have. And the guys that like to smoke marijuana, guys that like to get high, guys that like to take a break from reality to the degree that they can with marijuana, they're not considering this the same way that I think a few other people are. They're going, dude, they're finally making it so I can it's Friday night, take the edge off the week and just kick back and commune with God. I think that's the way most of the people are going to be looking at this. But what about the guys that will look at this like it's some kind of an economic stimuli? There's all kinds of rumor, and I don't know what exactly is true. I guess I got to read some of the reports that Clint Rigel is talking about these days, where he's got all these states and municipalities that have approved recreational use of marijuana, medicinal or otherwise, and I hear what did I hear? Somebody said, you remember back in the old days at Joe Ada, we had so much money floating around, they actually gave some back to the people, right? What do they call this? The tax rebates? Yeah. You said now, according to some people, these
$1,000 check. I remember mine.
Do you? Yeah. What'd you buy with yours?
Paid off debt, probably.
It
was so long ago.
Something on the crowd. I've told the story. I bought a really nice VCR, stereo VCR, VHS thing, right? So I'm buying stereo movies and everything, and it worked great until there was a big GPA, I don't know, electrical storm, and it got fritzed. The thing absolutely got fried. So, in my mind, that's a perfect example of the government giveth and the government taketh away, all in the same breath. But there are some places, they say, where the marijuana business is so good, they're actually issuing tax rebates to the citizenry, the population of some of these towns, because there's just so much money floating around in the government. And I'm wondering, with 160,000 people that live here, I don't know how many of them over the age of 21, plus the tourist trade that is going to be coming in here to smoke marijuana. How many of what kind of revenues can we expect from retail marijuana? Go ahead. So what's the economic impact? I guess is the question.
The economy will go up in smoke. Thank you very much.
Up in smoke. Thank you very much, Cheech.
Oh, he's on the phone. What is it? Hang on. I can do my own.
Put up. Shaving, haircut, stupids. 20 after 7 o'clock in the morning. 888-825-5888-TAL. Okay, Jerry Roberts in the studio for the anniversary dedication.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you. You've been here every morning as well.
Every morning.
Either recorded
from the beginning,
or on tape or in studio. Yeah, from the very beginning. 365 or so. I don't know how many episodes you've done.
247, because we don't work on weekends, and you were gone for a while. And we had some holidays.
All right, and so
we're here.
That's the number that you ought to be looking for when you go, and you should download all of them and read all of them, or pay somebody in the office to read all of them and say, okay, this is we need to do this, we need to do that, and then think about the future of your organization. We'll be here with the Extra Point for at least another year.
Yep.
And we'll bring you some more great ideas for you to be a better employee, a better employer, and a better person, regardless of your business or where you are in the community. 20 after the hour. Take a look at the market real quick. The S&P 500, 27 and 4. They closed 23 points in the green. The Nasdaq in the green by 98 points, closing at 72.81. Dow Jones Industrial Average. Boy, it's just frustrating. It was in healthy into 25,000, and then they had a down day today, 24,999.67. That close to going to trading in excess of 25,000, and not a big enough drop, I think, to bring in a lot of the bargain hunters tomorrow. So we'll just have to see what happens on their Friday, our Saturday. Of course, there might be a few other things that are going to have an impact on where the markets in the States are going. International markets, the FTSE is up. The Nikkei is going to open up at 20,773. Hang Seng at 27,942. They're up by 300 points. Oh, that's where the Dow's points went. Shanghai also up. DAX is going to be closing down. Under oil, we got $54 and a penny for the price of oil. That's down from where it was yesterday. And natural gas. Oh, never mind natural gas. That's not the one I look at. Tapas at 65.47. Distracted because Michael Knight is waving. What are you waving about there? What? Huh? What?
I turned Jerry's mic on, and we have a guest.
We have a guest?
Yes.
I can't see the guest because it's dark outside.
I'll bring him in a second.
Okay, that would be fine. 7:22 in the morning. Jerry Roberts in the studio. And your mic is already on, so might be able to chime in on a couple of things. Like I said, doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on with Tapas. It's up from where it was yesterday, and the answer is I don't care because I haven't seen anything happen at the pump yet.
That's right.
It's still
which is a good
389.9 is where all of that is. So,
but in honor of the first anniversary of the Ray Gibson show on the Point, it would be a wonderful gift if the oil companies would drop it another 20 cents.
20.
I think 20. This is more than just a dime.
Yeah.
I mean, the anniversary.
Spectacular nature of this program?
I believe that you having been on the radio for a year like this and doing this program is worth a 20-cent reduction in the price of gas. I just believe it.
Who am I to argue with that?
No.
Who said no? And I'll humbly accept that.
Please.
For my friends in the gas companies that are listening to the broadcast right now saying, yes, it would be a good thing.
20 cents.
International listening audience here at the radio station, they're rooting for me. They're behind you.
369.9, right? Or 36. What is it? 389.9? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
389.9.
Just put it up today.
Yeah.
Just leave it up for a day, if nothing else.
Oh, just an anniversary special.
Just anniversary special.
Just for today only.
Just a 24-hour deal, 369.9. and there it is.
Can you imagine the traffic jams? Can you imagine? Yeah, I mean, just one day if they dropped it even 20 cents.
Yeah.
There's everybody that would be, I'm going to get gas right now. I filled up yesterday. I'm down by a couple of gallons. I'm going to go buy it early.
Can you imagine all the sales at the convenience stores that would be happening?
Yes.
Imagine all the money the oil companies would make because of dropping it 20 cents in one day.
How about that?
And wholesalers would have to be lined up, stocking the shelves again and again and again. Can you imagine the impact of the economy that would happen if people dropped the gas price 20 cents in honor of?
I'm trying to imagine
the
the impact of the economy if we went forward with this this marijuana thing. Anyway, more on that. We'll riff on that in a couple of minutes. 7:24 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. Right now, it's time for Jerry Roberts and his Extra Point, brought to you by our friends at Guahan Insurance Services.
Is there anybody else involved in that today?
First Hawaiian Bank, I believe.
All right. What if you were put in charge of a team and needed a number of top-quality, high-achieving workers to deliver big results? Where would you turn? Advertising? Online job sites? Old applications of people who once applied for work at the company? I'm Jerry Roberts, and I've got another option to consider next on the Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
A couple of nights ago, I was picking up folks at the airport, and before they emerged from the baggage and customs area, I got involved in a conversation with a man who told me a story about his business, a story that led to today's commentary. His name is Tim, and he's a manager for a big military contractor. He's been in the contracting game for many years. He also has attended a couple of my training courses, and we began to talk about that, plus a general discussion of the challenges of building a team which stays together over the long haul. As we chewed that over, Tim started talking about some of the people he now works with and that he had the pleasure of doing so before he came to Guam. In his end of the military contracting business, it's a relatively small community. And he said, you come to know who the good workers are, the ones you can trust to show up and get things done. Then he dropped the nugget of information that made the difference. Contracts are won and lost, and people are often on the move in search of their next opportunity. He said, there are a lot of positions filled locally, but when you need additional expertise, you know where to look. This network of people you've been a part of for so long. I didn't ask Tim how many times he's dipped into the community to find talent or how many times someone has dipped in to find him, but my guess is that he's experienced both, perhaps several times. So what does all this mean to you? Is there more going on here than just basic networking? Yes, there is. If you're unable to play along with what we do next, you can go to GuamTraining.com and download transcript number 248 in about an hour and do it later. Now, take a piece of paper and list two categories of people. The first list is made up of those you've worked with over the years who have impressed you with their talent, skill, determination, charisma, and overall work ethic. The second list is made up of people who have competed with you. Same industry, different companies, and you know they also do great work and can be counted on to deliver results. This gives you a start to developing your own community of talent, and with every job you take, you add to both of these lists. The next step is to keep tabs on people so your contacts are always fresh. One day, when you're in a position to build a team and you need proven winners, you go looking in your community to see who might be interested in moving on from where they are now. The larger the network of top-notch people, the better your chances of landing who you need, and maybe much better than taking a chance on finding the right one in a sea of applications. If you haven't got such a list, there's no better time than today to start making one. I would imagine my friend Tim would know exactly who to call if he needed to fill a critical position. Will you? That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Thank you, buddy. 7:28 in the morning. Always nice to have you here, and I wish I could spend more time with you, but we got people all lined up all over the place. I do want to bring in somebody that's been part of the broadcast. In fact, our operation here at Choice from the beginning. It's my friend Torgan Smith from over at Marco. Good morning, Torgan.
Yes. Hey, Torgan.
Hey, Ray. Good morning. Hey, Jerry. Good morning.
So I just thought we'd reach out to you because we included you and the Tennis Federation, the TAG, as part of our anniversary flyer that we've got up online and in the flipper thing that we've got going on every once in a while. And you saw that, huh?
Yeah, somebody sent it to me. I'm not on Facebook, but my wife sent it to me, and I saw that Dominic Trabate and Tommy Haas and me and you were on that poster. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, we were talking about something big that's going to be going on, and a new kind of tennis center that is. You were saying is within days of groundbreaking, right?
Yeah, we're just finishing up the building permits, and then we've got the contractors hired, and it's gonna happen.
All right. Well, when it's time to start talking about groundbreakings and more interviews, come on by and tell everybody about how great this is going to be for the tennis community here on Guam, especially youth tennis.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Where you now? You're at the airport, huh?
I'm actually on the plane.
All right. Well, I tell you what.
Apparently, I'm going to Minnesota, where it's colder than the South Pole, apparently.
I've heard that. Well, you try to stay as warm as possible. Go ahead and tell the pilot to close the door. I'm going to let you go now.
Okay, race done. We're ready.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Torgan Smith, part of the first year of the broadcast. At 7:30, Jerry Roberts takes care of the extra point and will continue to do so for at least the foreseeable future. The future I foresee now has headlines in it. From the Guam Daily Post, here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, the Public Utilities Commission last night deciding to leave the fuel surcharge unchanged. No increase and no decrease. It'll remain at its current rate of 14.4 cents per kilowatt hour. The Guam Power Authority petitioned the PUC to hold the surcharge where it is for another 6 months, and the commissioners approved. The surcharge is meant to offset GPA's fuel costs. GPA General Manager John Benavente said oil prices have been fluctuating lately, and the utility wants to hold the surcharge at the current rate until prices stabilize. The Leon Guerrero administration yesterday naming Pilar Laguana the new president and chief executive officer of the Guam Visitors Bureau, replacing Nathan DeKnight. The release announcing her appointment says that Laguana has been with GVB since 1977. She has been in charge of GVB's global marketing team and currently is working on new market sources in Southeast Asia. The salary for that position last year was $125,000, or about $166,000 with benefits. Robert Alvarez has been named Guam Visitors Bureau Vice President. In addition, yesterday, educator Melvin Wanpad Borja was appointed Executive Director of the Commission on Decolonization, a job that paid about $104,000 with benefits in the previous administration. Their nominations will be submitted to the Guam Visitors Bureau Board and the Guam Legislature for final approval. Just weeks after the Leon Guerrero administration announced the appointment of Jerry Mandel as Director of the Department of Integrated Services for Individuals with Disabilities, she has stepped down. Governor's spokeswoman Crystal Paco confirmed that Mandel stepped down before going through the legislative confirmation process. Paco said that Mandel resigned for personal reasons. In announcing her initial appointment a few weeks ago, the administration said Mandel has been a lifelong advocate and educator of people with disabilities, and she served as the executive director of Gumamami and has worked as a special education teacher and guidance counselor. Paco said Carissa Pangilinan, who recently was appointed deputy director, and the Guam Behavior Health and Wellness Center will serve as interim acting director of DISID. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think I will. It's 7:32 in the morning, and swing by the nearest iConnect or find them on the World Wide Web, 888-8888, and ask them about the incredible plans they have for 2019. Push to talk, they got it. Internet and mobile, too, with iConnect.
Introducing Exchanged, Guam's first online and mobile remittance to the Philippines. Exchanged is the easiest and fastest way to send money to your family and friends anywhere in the Philippines. Download the Exchanged app or visit their website, exchange.me. Sign up, remit, and get a chance to win a trip for two to Manila. Deluxe accommodations at the Belmont Hotel at Resorts World Manila. So sign up and remit now at Exchanged. Promo ends March 2nd, 2019. Conditions apply. Also avail of Exchange dollar to remit promo. Visit exchange.me for details.
7:33 and time to take a look at what's happening on the roadways. The traffic gizmo looks like this. Yes, there is traffic leading into Anderson Air Force Base. There is also southbound traffic on Marine Corps Drive all the way through to Daytadu and Y Seng Song. It'll open up a little bit, but by the time you get to the intersection of 1 and 3, that corridor, you know, it's amazing how much work they've done there, and it still jams up every morning. So northbound traffic and southbound traffic is going to be slowing down as you make your way through that intersection. 8, 10, and 16 looking fairly clear right now. 10 and 15 is going to busy up before too much longer, so hurry up and get past that intersection by the church. Also looking at traffic around the University of Guam area, and traffic on the right-hand lane is beginning to get slow. It's traffic moving towards the university area. 4 and 10, not so bad. Most of Route 4 is clear getting into the downtown Hagåtña area. Looking good over in Tutuhan and the Agana Heights area where we keep Navy Hospital, and not so bad getting into Big Navy in Sumai. That's your right now traffic at 7:34 on The Point.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Interesting family history that we're going through. Malcolm Roberts in the studio. We'll spend some time with him because, as I've mentioned at least a couple of times, of all of the people that raised me, it's him and my Auntie Annie, I think, are the last surviving ones here. And so I kind of want to make sure that he's a special in-studio guest when it gets to be time to talk about the anniversary of the program. But before we jump into that conversation, understand the Governor Leon Guerrero is on the phone. Hey, Gov.
Hi, good morning, Ray.
Hey, good morning to you and Jeff and the rest of the family. How's everything going? Are you living in Government House now?
No, we're still at
No, just not. It's still in the regular place. Okay, I got it. Anyway, I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to call in and say hello.
Yes, absolutely, and congratulations on your year anniversary.
Well, we tried to time it with the inauguration, but unfortunately weren't able to do anything like that. But I want to take an opportunity to congratulate you on the radio. It's been a while since we've had a chance to talk. Tell me a little bit about your get together with the chamber on Wednesday. Was that fun?
Yeah, actually, it was a good. It's a good meeting. The last time I was there I was debating 4 guys, and guess the chamber liked my message, and I was there now as their governor.
I remember that debate. I moderated that debate, and I remember after the very first time that you got up, I remember thinking, this is the one to watch here in this particular debate. Everybody was kind of, in their own lane, but it seemed to me that there was a different Lou Leon Guerrero than I was riding the elevator with at the Bank of Guam.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Well, you're very welcome. I thought it was. I thought you were particularly on point many times in that particular debate, and then of course went on to win the election. A couple of things that came up in the get together with the chamber yesterday is you were going to hold the administration, that is the Trump administration's feet in the fire, to start recompensing us for EITC.
Yes. I know it's going to be a long haul. I know it's going to be a lot of work. I know it's going to be a lot of meetings, and DC doesn't work very fast. I am going to continuously make the case about how we are paying a federally unfunded mandate, which is eating into our revenues, where other states have gotten federal money for the ITC. So, wherever I can make my case, I will make my case.
Now, how do I want to say that? Now, you're looking at $60 million now, right? But that's a drop in the bucket and would only account for this year's EITC. What about all of the other payments that have been made to taxpayers over the years? Do you think there might be a plan moving forward that we might be able to go back to that very first one that Tony Sanchez authorized back in the Camacho administration?
Man, that would be a great success, if we could do that.
That's guaranteed re-election. That's guaranteed 2 terms, Magahaga.
I know. I'm going to, of course, I'm going to try and see if I can get everything that I can get, but I think I would feel very, successful if we do it now moving forward. That's a great step in the right direction.
Totally agree here. Now, what about the H-2B? You have a plan, and I like the plan because it sounds like something that I said when I heard about the hotel getting an exemption, and the people are saying, oh, yeah, because we're going to have military people might stay at that hotel. We'll go ahead and include it as part of our military buildup and infrastructure buildup here on Guam. And I thought at the time, you know what, then let's make all of the projects on Guam, every construction project. My kitchen remodel should be part of the military buildup.
I don't know if we're going to go that far, but
all right, fine. How about there's in between the Shell station and the mobile station on Route 8. There's some construction there, and I'm pretty sure that's been slowed down for a variety of reasons, up to and including the lack of personnel. Be nice to see that project get back on its feet. And I don't know what they're building there. I think it's supposed to be another grocery store, but obviously, it's. I'm sure that military people will shop at that store.
Absolutely, and the reason I said all projects should be regarded as military projects connected, right? Because the military personnel, they come out and they patronize our restaurants, our malls. Also, they would need residential accommodations. They would need short stay accommodations, and so. If you really want to be a purist about it, I think everything is related to the military buildup, because we wouldn't be doing these services or expanding our businesses if there wasn't the population and the demand that's there to provide those services. So I'm gonna make my case as much as I can in every possible avenue. The White House, the in Congress, lobbyists, influential people that have a connection to the White House. I'm going to use all of that, working with the CNMI also, Governor Ralph Torres and Congressman Kalili Sablan, and also, of course, our delegate, who's just as concerned and has said to me that he's going to work feverishly and work with us together to make one case. And so if we can all march with the same tune, business community, our people, government, community leaders, religious leaders, the whole community, I think that just makes for a greater force and a greater strength in our voice in
D.C. Everybody pulling on the same rope. That's a good thing. Let me a quick question here. Bill number 32. Our friend Clint Rigel has sent to the legislature, introduced a piece of legislation that would create the Cannabis Control Board, declassify marijuana as a Schedule I controlled substance, and generally allow for the regulation, use, production, sale, and taxation of marijuana on Guam. If the legislature passes this and it makes it to your desk, will you sign it?
I will look very closely on what the bill is. And yes, I have always been supportive of legalizing adult recreational marijuana, and I'll have to look at the law, the bill. I have to make sure that it's within legal parameters. I have to make sure, that the language is there, make sure that we can enforce it, make sure that we can provide the commission for it, and if that's all within those parameters, I will absolutely support it. Yeah.
Well, then, so it's up to the legislature to send you something that doesn't look like it's in any violation of any current Guam statutes. Obviously, we'd have to look at what the Department of Justice's position has been on marijuana, and if they can do it in Colorado or Oregon or a variety of other states, there shouldn't be any prohibition to us doing it here.
Yeah, Ray, I was in Colorado Springs just in mid-December for a National Governors Association meeting, and
did you smoke?
No. I went to one of their retails just to see how the process is, and it's very well regulated. It's very well controlled, and I was talking to the owner there, or I don't know if it was the owner, but certainly the manager there, and he was saying that they're taxed 27%, and of course those taxes are distributed to education, healthcare, and public safety within their city, right? And he was telling me that they have enough proceeds and revenues to provide free school lunches for all the kids in Colorado Springs for the next 36 years. And I was, wow.
It's a problem that we'd like to have. Gov, I appreciate you taking some time here this morning, and appreciate you being a part of the program. We'll spend plenty more time in the next year together, okay?
Sure. All right.
Have a fantastic Governor Day. As Governor Lulian Guerrero with me on the telephone. So she didn't get a chance to smoke when she was in Colorado. I tried it out.
You failed to ask the real question,
which was,
did you have any brownies? That's the follow-up question, because I'm in.
Well, she came back, so I don't know. It just seems to me that if it was fun already, yeah. Somebody, Cosendo is saying, has it already been a year? Yeah. Congrats. And a special in-studio guest that I've got here this morning is my Uncle Robert Underwood, and Uncle Robert has been part of the broadcast for many years. Back in the days when he was a congressman, and I was doing talk radio at K57, and then when you were at the University of Guam, and there was here and now, or there and now I'm here, and now you're retired.
That's right. I'm just representing the Underwood household, and it's divided many times. So I can't. I'm not even sure that I'm a good representative.
Well, but here's the thing. And now part of the conversation was because I wanted to get into this. Is there was a Guam Ancestral Lands Commission took out an ad, and they're looking for heirs of various families because it looks like there might be some property to give back. So I wanted to know if you knew anything about this piece of property that has your grandmother's name on it, my great-grandmother, Anna Martinez Underwood. But you don't know where that lot is, huh?
I'm not sure where that lot is. And, of course, I'll have to ask Annie. I'll have to ask my sister Annie because she was raised by my grandparents, and she also probably...
might have actually been on that piece of property. Because I know that there's family land down in the Sassat Valley.
That's right.
That we'll never, ever get back.
Unlikely. Unless the Navy pulls out.
Yeah. So if you remember, it's like the people that had land where the airport is. They're not gonna. So that's the long and short on that. But I also wanted to check in with you and find out how retirement is treating you. What have you been doing?
Well, it's great. And first of all, let me congratulate you because you're not just a talk show host. You're an intelligent, funny guy. And
Here it comes.
And that's really important. And, sometimes there's some people out there that are almost as intelligent, and then there's some people who are almost as funny.
Right.
But you're a great combination.
I ring both of the bells. I have 2 check marks there.
And a great source of pride to me personally. So I really just want to congratulate you on your first anniversary. And my retirement life is great. This
what do you do? I mean, you're here. You look like you've been up since 4, waiting for somebody to call you. Hey, you want a coffee? Let's go.
Well, I respond to media inquiries on occasion, and I also teach a class at the university.
What are you teaching?
I'm teaching history of Guam.
What do you know about that?
I don't know, not much. Those 12 students don't know it. they're in trouble. But it's funny because
what a circle of life, huh?
It's a circle of life, and not only that, it's that it really points out how fleeting memories are. You know, when I teach the history of Guam, lucky if 3 students in the class know who Ricky Bordallo is.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I'm not. I'm not. It's and it's really like the the galloping nature of history and personal experience. Then I have to remind myself these young people are in their early 20s, and they just have a whole different sense of life, and they have a different sense of time, and history and connection.
Well, this is the thing. There's a Facebook meme that's kind of amusing. It talks about it's 30 years ago was 1990. You say 30 years ago to me, I'm thinking the 50s and 60s. That's the time that I find ourselves in. So that's not it's different. It's unusual, and it's something I think that you kind of have to get around in order to teach the students that it's not just what happened before Magellan, and it's not just what happened with the Americans and the Japanese and liberation. It's stuff that happened back when you were just starting out as a teacher at the University of Guam.
That's correct.
I got you. 888-8255. Hey, look who's on the phone. This is a great opportunity here because I wanted to get this going. Congressman Mike St. Nicholas had a birthday the other day, and I was joking it would be great if Uncle Robert sang happy birthday to him. Good morning, Congressman Mike.
And you created the opportunity, Ray.
Well, it was totally accidental, but I'm happy that we got things together. Former Congressman Robert Underwood is in the studio with me, and so go ahead and exchange pleasantries here.
Good morning, Congressman. And how old are you?
Well, as of 4:50 this afternoon, I am 38 years and 1 day old.
Well, how about that? Not bad for accomplishments for somebody when they're 38 years old. Frankly, I'm 56 years old. I'll be 57 in May, and I'm happy when I pay all my bills on time. It comes down to it. It's like I got the videos back to the rental place on time. So that I feel like I've accomplished something in here. Tell me about the committees that you're on. Tell me about because you got your subcommittees in that committee, right?
Yeah, we got the subcommittees, and it's pretty exciting stuff. We're hoping that we're going to be able to really turn it up when we're going to start doing the committee work. We have the subcommittee on capital markets and entrepreneurship, and the subcommittee on international development and monetary policy and national security, both under the House Financial Services Committee. And then we have the subcommittee on oversight and investigations under natural resources and indigenous peoples under natural resources. But also the good news on natural resources is Kilili managed to get them to once again elevate the insular areas to the full committee level. And Chairman Grijalva was generous enough to appoint him as Kilili Sablan as the vice chair of the full committee on issues pertaining to the insular areas. So it was a good day for Guam, and I want to congratulate my colleague, Congressman Kilili, for his appointment. He did very well.
So tell me a little bit about the possible upside of being on this subcommittee on insular relations and affairs.
The subcommittee on the natural resources subcommittee?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of buzzwordy, so you sort of lost me in the middle. I was kind of hoping Uncle Robert was paying attention. So what's our upside here? Is this do we get our EITC back? Can we get H-2Bs? Will there be more money floating in with the buildup?
Well, with the question on the Natural Resources Committee, we did meet with Interior Assistant Secretary Doug Dominich. So we sat down with him, and we sat down with Nick Pula, and it's the same folks that Guam's been working with for many years, and we're going to continue to work with them. In my capacity as a member of the full Committee of Natural Resources, we're going to be engaging in the same way as we've been for these many years. And but also on my position on the subcommittee on oversight and investigations, I want to explore whether or not we can leverage the responsibilities of that committee to be able to get more answers from Interior that have been pretty elusive lately. Most particularly,
how about a formula for compensation on compact impact?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
I want to be able to call them in and say, hey, look, you know what? From an oversight capacity, I need you to tell us how you're determining the compact impact ratios, because if we're not very clear on what those formulas are, how can we be clear that we're properly mitigating the impact of the resources?
I always thought that should have come from them. I always thought that should have come from them anyway. 7:53 in the morning, and I know that you would ask for mentorship and guidance from Uncle Robert, so I'm going to ask Uncle Robert here. Now this sounds like an important committee that he is on. This finance. What's the name of the overarching financial services? So I mean, what advice can you give him dealing with these people? I understand he's kind of a senior rep in that committee, but you've been in committees for years in your time in D.C. So how does he navigate through all of the different processes, procedures, and people?
Well, the basic advice is to find a moving vehicle, a moving legislative vehicle, and see how you can adapt it to your benefit. Because you're in these committees, the leadership basically determines the agenda that they're going to have in terms of legislation. So if you're sitting in the committee, as Delegate St. Nicholas is, he's in a very key position to be able to adapt that legislation as it's processed. So that's very key, and it's very important. Of course, he's on an exclusive committee. So that's also pretty significant. Yeah. So that means that exclusive committee means that that means that he only has one committee assignment, and that's it. But he got a waiver for a second one, which is, due to the size of the Democrats in the House, the party ratios determine on the size of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. So there were probably many slots open. A lot of people got waivers, and very happy that Mike picked resources, and of course, with Kilili as vice chair, hopefully they have a robust agenda of hearings and
these
oversight
moving
hearings,
vehicles, as you said,
and moving vehicles, so that you can then adapt that legislation to benefit Guam.
Did you want to sing happy birthday to him?
No, it's already passed. And I don't have much of a voice, but I'm always here. I always have been here, and people ask me questions, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability.
Miguel, you got anything else?
No, I'm good. But just to make sure that we reciprocate, Ray, you got to make sure that I'm on the show on time for Congressman Underwood's birthday, so I can make sure I get the song out before it's too late.
You got it. You got it. I'll keep that in mind. 7:55, Congressman Mike St. Nicholas from Washington, D.C. this morning, chiming in. And we get back to the conversation with Uncle Robert just because I think it's fascinating. We were talking last night. UB40 is coming to Guam, the group that did Red Wine back in the 1980s. And my friend Mako was talking to another younger friend named Tommy and said, "Oh, UB40 is coming, is going to be performing at Epop Beach Park." And she says, "Is that a local band?" and this kid, 22 years, had no concept, no clue as to who UB40 was. So like I said, it's that time period that they find themselves living in, and what happens in the future probably probably less, or if not about the same influence as anything that happened in the past. So you kind of got to put things in context for them, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I used to tell this story that I was a journalism major in college, and one of the great opportunities I had was I was given an opportunity to interview the Byrds. And so they had a concert, and I went to the back and I interviewed them. Yeah. And it was a great moment in time for me, and I tell that story, and they look at me and go, "Who are the Byrds?" I said, "Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, turn. Nothing there." So, that's also, and I also tell a kind of, I use an historical reference. I said, the difference between Chief Matapang and Robert Underwood is really wide. But, we both call ourselves Chamorros. And there's some people who say you shouldn't because the difference is so wide. I said, how's that different from William Shakespeare to Mick Jagger? They're both Englishmen. Nobody ever says, "Mick, you can't call yourself an Englishman." And then I asked this, when I told that reference the other day, I asked the students, I said, "How many of you don't know who Mick Jagger is?"
hands go up.
A third of them.
Yeah, hands go up. 750. So being retired now, how much is that? I mean, you're doing the job. You're still teaching in a classroom, but being retired, has that changed your perspective at all? Or maybe the additional birthdays that you have, has that changed your perspective on life?
Absolutely not. I think I'm very, I get up in the morning, I get outraged, just like any other normal resident
What's
of
today's
Guam.
outrage?
It's just outrage about, reading things on Facebook, as opposed to hearing it in person, that kind of stuff. But, basically, I still have a lot of concern about the future of the island. So, of course, this is my passion. This is my public passion. Is the future of Guam and the future of its people.
So, but what's that? What is it that keeps you awake at night? What is it that you are concerned about? Where are we failing the future generations? What are we not seeing that could be of detriment to us in the future?
I think leadership based on local themes. I think leadership where people understand their past. So, like, for example, I see these young ladies on campus walking around saying, the future is Famalawan. Yeah. And I told the class, I said, the past is Famalawan too. And I wonder how much they know about what Famalawan did, what women did, and what role they play. Because that will inspire you instead of, young people got to know that history didn't begin when they got here.
Yeah.
And that's really important to pass along.
There's so many recent examples, but unfortunately, when we start talking about Magahaga and the wives of the chieftains, everybody wrote down the names of the chiefs, but nobody remembers the wives, and we have this idea that we were that this is a matrilineal society and the power has always been with the women. Well, how come we don't remember them and their adventures? Was that us? Was it the Spaniards, or was it them saying, "Hey, listen, I'm just doing a job"? It's 7:59 and change. You want to stick around for a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, got no place. Everybody's liking it. RAU needs to be on air with Ramon more often. And as my sister, so glad you came back. Happy anniversary from Cat Phillips, Huggan, and more. We'll take a look at the rest of the lineup in seconds. For KUSG, gotten you headquarters for Fox News Live next.
Let's make a deal. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump hosting a high-stakes meeting in the ongoing trade dispute with China. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
I think... Lisa, President Trump meeting with the vice premier of China in the Oval Office, expressing optimism that the U.S. and China can work out a new trade deal before a March 1st deadline.
I think the relationship that we have right now with China has never been so advanced. I don't think it's ever been better, but I can tell you for a fact it's never been so advanced. And certainly a deal has never been so advanced.
If no trade deal can be reached before March 1st, tariffs on Chinese products exported to the U.S. would go up to 25%. Lisa?
Meantime, John, the president for the second time today also defending his overall foreign policy after differing assessments from intelligence chiefs this week on several fronts, including North Korea.
We've made tremendous progress with North Korea. When I came in, or let's say at the end of the last administration, frankly, it looked like we were going to war with North Korea.
He says he disagrees with some of this week's reports, and he thinks time will prove him right. A law that requires health warnings on ads for soda and other sugary drinks is blocked in San Francisco. A federal appeals court ruling unanimously that the ordinance violates constitutionally protected commercial speech. Beverage and retail groups sued. Supporters of the law said it would help fight obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. The weather system that's plunged a large part of the U.S. into sub-zero conditions is now blamed for at least 16 deaths in 7 states.
In our 130 years, we've never experienced this kind of demand or these kind of temperatures.
Consumer Energy's Patty Poppe urging people to reduce usage after a fire at one of their Detroit plants. It is slowly ending, though. Chicago expected to top 50 on Monday. This is Fox News.
Attention homeowners, if you don't have a solar energy system on your roof from Micronesia Renewable Energy, now is the time to get one. MRE solar energy systems now come with battery storage for zero money down. This means that your home will have power even when the island power isn't available, like during power outages or during and after storms. The inconvenience of not having power for your home is a thing of the past. Don't be left in the dark. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
Hi, this is Ray Gibson from The Morning Show on 93.3 The Point. And we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary this February.
The Point is your News Talk headquarters with top news, sports, weather, and traffic, and of course, always a little extra. We want to thank our listeners, fans, and followers for keeping us on our toes and joining us on this journey. The Ray Gibson Show Anniversary Celebration is brought to you by Take Care, Our Island, Your Health Plan.
Prosecutors follow through several years after raids targeting so-called birth tourism. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal is live in L.A.
Lisa, 20 people have now been charged in Southern California with running a birth tourism scheme, allegedly helping mostly Chinese women travel to the U.S. to have their babies here, so they'd be U.S. citizens. 3 people have now been arrested, charged with things like visa fraud and conspiracy. Now, the businesses were initially raided nearly 4 years ago, and they were accused of charging women tens of thousands of dollars and coaching them to hide their pregnancies while applying for visas. Even though it's been 4 years since the raids, a federal grand jury just this week indicted 4 people who were accused of running 3 businesses, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. A week after the partial government shutdown ended with temporary spending, the underlying debate that helped fuel it remains the same.
The only thing that works for security and safety for our country is a wall.
President Trump digging back in at the White House as a bipartisan committee meets on Capitol Hill, trying to iron out differences on border security.
The committee will come back. And if they don't have a wall, I don't even want to waste my time reading what they have, because it's a waste of time.
He's been tweeting about it, too. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
It's up to the conferees to negotiate, but the point is, what is the best way to protect our border?
Pelosi says, though, there won't be any wall money. A quest by 2 New Orleans Saints ticket holders to force a full or partial do-over of this year's NFC Championship game because of a blown no call by game officials has been rejected today by a federal judge. There were at least 2 lawsuits filed over this. One is a class action lawsuit on behalf of ticket holders, and that one is still pending in state court. Lisa Brady. And this is Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years, we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. Services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Half a day, and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Freshman Senator Clint Rigel has introduced a bill that would legalize the sale, use, and commercial manufacture of marijuana products on Guam without requiring a medical reason. Rigel said that the aim of the Guam Cannabis Industry Act of 2019 is to create new jobs and generate more revenue for GovGuam. In a release, the senator points out that a recent report projected stagnant economic growth for the island in the year ahead, and the cannabis industry would be a shot in the arm for the economy. Bill number 32 would allow adults aged 21 and older to personally cultivate, purchase, and use cannabis and cannabis products. The CNMI has already passed adult use legislation in 10 states, as well as the District of Columbia have done the same, says Rigel. Well, 17 other states have recently introduced similar legislation to legalize cannabis. Andrea Pellicani, the managing partner for Grassroots Guam, said at first glance, the bill appears to provide a good foundation for an industry that can diversify Guam's economy and provide safer options for both patients and adult personal use. However, her group needs more time, she said, to review details of the bill. The Public Utilities Commission last night deciding to leave the fuel surcharge unchanged. No increase, but no decrease either. It'll remain at its current rate of 14.4 cents per kilowatt hour. The Guam Power Authority petitioned the PUC to hold the surcharge where it is for another 6 months, and the commissioners approved. The surcharge is meant to offset GPA's fuel costs. GPA General Manager John Benavente said oil prices have been fluctuating lately, and the utility wants to hold the surcharge at the current rate until prices stabilize. We'll have more news after this.
Here at Make-A-Wish, our Wish kids wish for all kinds of things. A lot of them involve traveling to faraway places. On Monday, February 18th from 6 until 10, we'll be holding an airlines mileage drive with me, Ray Gibson, on 93.3 The Point, to help us grant these travel wishes. So if you've got spare airline miles, you can donate them without any transfer fees. Your donation will go a long way, and so will our Wish kids.
Do you know someone who has difficulty following conversation in noisy places or turns up the TV a little too loud? These may be signs of a hearing loss. Ross Hearing Aids specializes in hearing evaluations, custom-fit hearing aids using the latest in wireless digital technology, and custom-fit hearing protectors. Call Ross Hearing Aids today to schedule a complimentary hearing consultation. 637-HEAR, 637-HEAR. Ross Hearing Aids, located across Shirley's in Harmon.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. In district court yesterday, a representative from the U.S. Trustee Program reported that it's moving forward with plans to form a committee to creditors for the Archdiocese of Agana's bankruptcy case. Assistant U.S. Trustee Curtis Ching took part in the hearing via video conference link from his office in Honolulu. By law, the U.S. Trustee oversees the administration of bankruptcy cases. Ching told Chief District Court Judge Francis Tadenko Gatewood that he will meet with creditors and form a committee to carry out the requirements of the Archdiocese's bankruptcy case. The committee will be made up of plaintiff attorneys who will be able to hire their own bankruptcy counsel. 2 weeks ago, the Archdiocese filed a petition for reorganization under Chapter 11 of the Bankruptcy Code. In its filing, the Archdiocese listed $22.9 million in assets and $45.6 million in liabilities, but that liability figure expected to increase dramatically because there are 202 sex abuse lawsuits filed against the Archdiocese, and each claimant is seeking $5 million on average in damages. 33-year-old Casey Lynn Fuller could be offered a plea deal, allowing her to attend drug court following her latest brush with the law. Fuller was in Superior Court yesterday on a charge of meth possession following her arrest in June 2018. Assistant Attorney General Jeremy Kemper telling Superior Court Judge Anita Sikola that Fuller is eligible for the Adult Drug Court Program, which allows offenders to attend a drug treatment program and have their records expunged. One of a host of conditions for graduation from the drug court is passing 20 consecutive drug tests. In June of last year, Fuller tried to flee police officers who were responding to a complaint of an unknown woman shouting in front of the home. According to court documents, Fuller threw a glass pipe on the ground, the residue on which later tested positive for methamphetamine. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
Mostly cloudy skies through tomorrow, becoming partly cloudy on Sunday. Isolated light showers. Expect winds 15 to 20 miles an hour today, but through the weekend it's going to creep up to about 25 miles an hour. Highs around 86 degrees, lows around 76 degrees. Cooler depending on whether the wind is blowing at you at 25 miles an hour. Sunset tonight at 6:21. Sunrise tomorrow morning will be at 6:47. I will watch that from the finish line at the Mace race down in Agate. Details on that coming up. High surf advisory in effect until 6 o'clock tonight along north-facing reefs, and rip currents through north and east-facing reefs all the way through tomorrow night, so watch out for that. We'll take a look at the weather radar with Michael Knight.
Yeah, along with those 20 to 25 mile per hour winds, could see some gusts up around 30 or so get ready for that.
Yeah.
Looking at the radar here, not much to look at. Very isolated stuff. The remnants of the shear lines that have moved through and that are continuing to blow on through. Got one last little remnant going to pass through and reinforce what passed through earlier this week. That's what's going to kick up the winds for us through the weekend. But today, kind of a lull in the wind action, but that won't last long, only until about this afternoon sometime. Looking at the satellite here, again, we're in a pretty good clear spot right here. The blobbage way down to the southwest, not a problem for us, and really not a problem for the Philippines. They could use the rain. The thing I would want to point out is if you look at the top of the satellite picture, you can see another push of continental air coming on down. That should be another shear line that'll probably hit us sometime next week.
Yeah. But it just means good weather still coming.
That's right, basically, yeah. You know, when the shear lines push through, of course, the showers kick up a bit along that shear line because you got moisture riding over a boundary of air. It's like a bubble of air moving across the ground, and the moisture rides up over the top of it. But then the moisture goes away, and then you have just the bubble of air.
And it's nice air that's coming through here. It's not like the stinky stuff over by the dump. It's good stuff. 8:13 in the morning, and friends, that's news and weather together here on The Point. Coming up, we'll do sports.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
The Ray Gibson Show Anniversary Edition brought to you by Take Care Insurance. Portions of the program also brought to you by American President Lines. They're shipping the future. Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your specialty care needs. And American President Lines. No, wait a second. Micronesia Renewable Energy, never been a better time to go solar.
Rediscover talk radio here. Your FM News Talk Superstation. This is The Point.
I got 815-888-8255-888-TALK, and sad to report this morning the passage of my mentor and dear friend John Anderson. Been battling Parkinson's, I'm told, and we're getting word here into the studio that he has now succumbed as a result of that terrible disease. As more details come to me, I will pass them along to you. If you're listening to me, there's a very good chance that you were a big fan and a daily listener of John Anderson and his program over the years, and we're all joined, Mahi and the family, in mourning his passing here today. 8:15 in the morning. We'll take a look at some of the other things. Move forward into this anniversary version of the program, and also joined in the studio. We'll get closer to the microphone in just a few minutes. Is former Speaker of the Legislature and now the guy that's running things over at the Office of Public Accountability, and another one of my really good friends, and among the people that I've been just privileged to have in my life. That's B.J. Cruz coughing on the microphone, and we'll get him on the air. Hey, it's good to see you.
Happy anniversary.
You're looking terrific. Thank you. You look terrific.
I only woke up this morning to come here because of your anniversary. Otherwise,
yeah, it's
don't do this.
But I got to say, you look heads, neck, and shoulders. Whatever you're doing these days, you look great. Because when you were over at the legislature, I thought it was curtains for you at some point. But now that you're public auditor's office, you look so much better.
Stress relief.
We'll get him on the camera so everybody can see it. Right now, he's getting blocked by the bouquet that Juanita Machi sent over. But we've got to get into this now. Blake Watson would normally be doing sports here today, but he's got a newborn, he's got another kid that's sick, so him and Mrs. Blake are going in different directions with different doctor's appointments at 8 o'clock. So that means it's time for Sports with Uncle Surprise! You never know where it's going to go. But wait a second. So I know this is what I know about Uncle Robert is you are a fan of football. You're paying attention to what's going on, right?
Absolutely, and I know that Tom Brady is a cheater.
He says that with the same confidence. He comes out and says, Donald Trump is a liar. And then he comes straight out and says, Tom Brady is a cheater. Is he really?
He is. Deflategate, you name it. They're sneaking in on the Rams right now, videotaping everything they do, because the Rams are, I can't wait to be here next week to just gloat over the Rams victory.
Well, you know what? I'm kind of with you now. Michael Knight and Blake Watson have they fought the Patriot thing and go. I hate to see them win, but they're going to win. I hate to see them win, and I think that's the attitude now, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, once the Patriots get to the big game, it's not a smart decision to bet against them. However, as a silver lining to this really dark cloud, because none of us wanted the Patriots in the Super Bowl, I think it's going to be very, very fun to watch them lose 2 in a row.
Okay, so you got Uncle Robert talking about loving the idea that there's a possibility that the Rams might win, and I was talking.
No, they're gonna win.
I was talking to Buddy Jordan about this last night. He says apparently on the internet somewhere there's this map of the United States, and it shows where everybody's favorites are, and so up around the Northeast, everybody's going for the Patriots, and then the rest of the country is Rams, except in St. Louis.
Well, and New
where
Orleans.
the Rams originally came from, and the St. Louis people are going, we hate those L.A. Rams. They took our team. And they're apparently still embroiled in controversy. The Rams said, you build a stadium and we'll stay here. And they built a $1 billion stadium and they still left.
That's right. So, maybe the Patriots will move there.
Who knows what's going to end up happening anyway? So fun stuff. So you believe that it's going to be a Rams victory simply because Tom Brady cannot continue
he can't continue cheating. That's the whole point of it.
He's got to stop.
I know. We have to cheat on the side of the Rams now a little bit.
But he's what is he like? He's another conversation, because you get any 3 or 4 guys together, and the conversation goes to football these days. But we're living in the Brady era. I mean, in terms of football, the Patriots and the Brady era, and
the
I
Brady bunch.
I don't know that do you think that that's going to end anytime soon?
I
the
hope
guy's 42,
so.
but he's
it makes me uncomfortable to be in the Brady era.
So I also lament here the fact that the football season, for all intents and purposes, when they get Friday by 2:00 in the afternoon on Friday, that's it. We're going to be in this long drought for football over several months. But you're excited because baseball season.
That's right. I'm a bigger baseball fan than I am a football fan.
Who's your favorite?
So the Dodgers, of
Dodgers,
course.
okay,
And so
LA
then,
Dodgers,
of course, what happened is the New England Boston Red Sox had just defeated the Dodgers. So therefore, this is like the L.A. Rams Dodgers revenge.
Didn't we have that conversation?
Yeah, we did.
One of these morning shows. So I mean, the Raiders playing yet?
No, I don't know about
when does the season start? When does baseball season start?
Baseball starts in April, so
they're
actually
in spring training around late February.
Yeah, for the Astros, pitchers and catchers report on the 14th.
Okay, all right. Now you've actually watched them play.
Oh yes.
You and Auntie Narissa get out there.
Yes. I've seen the Dodgers.
Do you have like season tickets or do you have?
No.
Look, I'm a former congressman. Does that get you anything?
No, it doesn't get you anything.
kind of pointless to do it, isn't it?
No, but I mean, I do have a baseball from that I caught in the stands from Clayton Kershaw pitched games. So that's because he's going to the Hall of Fame. So I'm holding on to that baseball. I also watched the Rams when I was a lot younger. When I was living in L.A. going to college, I watched a few Rams games. That was a different Rams team, but. Of course,
it was a different NFL back then too.
The emotional affinity for
was
the Rams.
Roman Gabriel was the quarterback at the time.
Roman Gabriel and Bill Munson. That was the controversy. Was are we going to go with Roman Gabriel or Bill Overthrow Munson? That's what they used to call him.
So, you know, talk about sports, and as I pointed out, most of this week, you know, except for the Super Bowl and a couple of 5Ks that are coming up, there really isn't that much to talk about sports-wise. But, you know, from the perspective of somebody that's been knocking around in this town for a long time and longish worldview that goes backwards in the world of like local sports. I mean, when you were a kid, what games did you play? What was it that sports-wise kept you and your classmates occupied?
Bato. Pitching pennies.
Really?
Marbles.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things. There you go. Thank you for that.
Were there no organized?
Baseball. But, you know, the most popular sport in Guam, certainly growing up, has always been basketball. Which is ironic because, you know, most people are really not very tall.
Right.
But basketball was always the popular sport, and everybody played a little bit of basketball.
Did you play sports in high school?
No, I did not. I was way too small.
To do anything?
To do anything.
No football, there was no baseball program back then.
No.
Outside the leagues.
Well, certainly when I was going to high school in California, my first 2 years, 9th and 10th grade, there was a lot of sports, but I was a terrible athlete.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, there was no point in it. And then
Well, we're book smart guys. You know, you need to know a thing or two about the Underwoods. So Annie had all of the athletes in her family, Freddie and Tony and Annie Girl.
There they go.
Yeah.
And some of them are athletes and smart. But I only got the little bit of brain power. But
you're talking about his honor Mike, right?
Well, all of them, to some extent. I don't want to start a different
no, let's
one.
make a fight. No, and we'll make
His
another
honor
fight.
and Dr. Annie and all those other people.
We'll start another fight like Father Duenas, you know, and the elite kids and Father Duenas.
Well, Annie was the first female to play Little League Baseball in Guam.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. We're all really proud of her.
Big controversy.
Now I think you have to be a woman to do anything on Guam, right?
Yeah.
Right? What are you laughing about? Because the next line was you have to be a woman or openly gay. Because the rest of us are just going to watch football on TV.
Yeah, the future is from allowance.
We'll get BJ's thoughts on that. What do you think? What do you think of that statement there, BJ?
Well, I think it's about time that you had some women in power, and so
haven't we always? I think about where we are now, and Shelley will make the same argument. You know, everybody talking about this surge of women in power, and you know my mom, you know my grandmother. I mean, and your grandmother. I mean, there have always been women in power around here, just not making such a big deal about it.
Yeah, I mean, 45 years ago when I came back, Doris was the budget director.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. You think about, and there have been some real powerhouse ladies in this town. Just happened to have finally gotten around to electing one governor and electing an entire body, practically, of women. 75 or two-thirds. I'm sorry. Just got to do the mathematics. See, that's why I wasn't any good at books or sports. That's why I talk on the radio. But you got 2/3 of the legislature that are now women, and so I keep watching for the visible signs of this harmony of interests as we move into this new time and things getting done and the clock's running, Auntie Lou. And
well,
Speaker.
you know, I mean, they do have a lot of challenges ahead of them, but you know, all of them are going to get audited.
You know,
that's the point. You want to talk about real power? It's this guy over here.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. We'll spend a few minutes talking about it on the radio. Did you bring this? Or this is mine, right? The calendar year 2019 annual work plan, and I kind of riffed on this in the last hour because, frankly, there's a bunch of things that you and I have had conversations about, wondering how much are we spending on this, and is it a good idea we throw as much money as we do?
And I want to congratulate our friend here, BJ, for doing this, because this is exactly what public officials are supposed to do. There's supposed to be a legislative plan by the congressman. There's supposed to be a legislative plan by the speaker and a plan of sorts from the governor. Of course, the governor has a huge responsibility. But so when I saw this here, just walking in this morning, I said, "Wow, that BJ man, what a guy!"
He's got it nailed down.
And I'm so glad I'm not running any agency anymore, so that I don't have to.
Well, yeah, but it took him 3 months to do it. Isn't that the fun part? Yeah,
and the day before yesterday, I issued my strategic plan, as I've learned from you in leadership training.
See there, we're mentoring each other.
No, I think that's it's because it's got the old school Democrats in here, the ones that don't sign unity pledges, don't get mentoring. You don't get any help around. See, that was the point that I was making yesterday, and more so to that point in the editorial section in the Daily Post today. I was looking at this thing and going, I wonder who I was waiting for, because I said, it's interesting to hear from you. It's interesting to hear from Auntie Madeline. And then I thought, I wonder what Ken has to say about all of this. And sure enough, new delegate could have handled transition better, right? Well, Ken P. Paris in today's Guam Daily Post. So I don't think this is going to go. I think all of the rest of the, what we ought to just do is get the rest of the old school Democrats together with Mike and just spank him. Just have him just run a gauntlet and just give him a good spanking,
a little whack,
and then make him sign the unity pledge at the end, and then we're all going to be happy, right?
Well, I mean, once you start finding fault with transition, it's a bottomless pit, and it's not. It's so obviously. This is I don't know. I don't think. This is interesting. I don't think Governor Lou Magahagas Lou has spent a lot of time trying to throw the Calvo administration under the bus. They haven't said it. They haven't said much. Which is refreshing. Which is absolutely refreshing and grown up and mature. It's now your turn.
Well, I'm going to let BJ do that in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
See, but nor can she, because she kept Lester and Mr. Byrne.
No, but I mean, I don't think it's constitutionally in her to do that. So maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just saying that's the way it's supposed to be. When
you're still ticked off about this, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm just pointing out. You raised it with
Sorry.
Mr. Paris's.
Is it my fault for bringing it up? Because I'm feeling disappointed moment. But
no,
that's just us.
But really, that's a transition is really tough. It's really tough. But hey, nothing is. You know what's worse than a sore loser?
The sore winner. All right, on the Facebook Live, what are we getting? I got Chris Biachino says, "Go Los Angeles Rams." Chris, at some point next week, get lined up with me so we can talk about your karate seminar that's going to be coming up. Auntie Narissa writes, for Robert A. Underwood, it's Dodgers forever. Los Angeles Angels, Chris Biachino says. Was there ever such a team? The Los Angeles Angels?
Yeah, there was.
Once upon a time.
But they're never as good as the Dodgers.
Well, apparently nobody is as good as the Dodgers. Rica
When
Blanca.
we were in Los Angeles, there was a Dodgers.
Right here. He and I were neighbors.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Did you go to dancing school too?
He was going to Bosco, which was a school right next to where I was living with my brother in an apartment building. Bellflower.
We got to do this more often. We got to just get family and friends in the studio and just do this more often, like every Friday. That's what we'll do, and next Friday we'll do it with beer, 8:30 in the morning. Uncle Robert, thanks so much for coming by.
Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. I got to kill time in a 4-hour show, and you help a lot.
But just to finish this off, because it is sad about the passing of John Anderson, and I just want to, I know he mentored you professionally, but for many of us who first learned how to talk on the radio or get interviewed, he was our mentor, and he was very gentle and intelligent and careful, and I think many public figures to be were under his tutelage, and I just wanted to mention that. Of course, aside from being a great friend and a contributor to our lives.
Yes, and helped out a lot of people. And on that sentiment, we'll take a quick break here. On the way back, we'll talk with we got Kevin Kerrigan with headlines. I might take another look at traffic to see if there's anything happening that is out there. And then I get to spend time with our public auditor and the guy in charge of the Office of Public Accountability. Is there a difference between the two A's? We'll find out as the program continues.
At Chili's, our burgers stack up with anyone's. Handcrafted to order, smashed to lock in flavor on a toasted brioche bun. Our burgers are all kinds of perfect. Choose from the Chili's Chili, the Mushroom Swiss, the Ultimate Bacon, or you know what? We dare you to take on the Boss Burger. Loaded with smoked brisket, rib meat, jalapeno cheddar sausage, and bacon. We may have really out-burgered ourselves. Our burgers are more than a handful, served with garlic, dill, pickles, and fries. So hurry in today and enjoy our juicy, melty, yummy, handcrafted creations. Perfection between two buns. Chili's. More life happens here.
8:32 in the morning. It's the anniversary version of the Ray Gibson Show, and all of the anniversary conversations in this station right now and into the future. In fact, I think we got something lined up for the entire month here. Is brought to you by our friends over at Take Care Insurance. 8:32 and headlines now from the Guam Daily Post. The guy that has been doing it side by side with me for a year, Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, a survey of the island's homeless population conducted last week shows a slight increase in the number of homeless compared to previous years. The Guam Homeless Coalition conducted the survey. The preliminary results show 873 people are homeless on island now, compared to 854 last year. Of those 873 counted this year, 765 were living without shelter, meaning that they spent the night in a public or private place not designed for or ordinarily used as a regular sleeping accommodation. The survey was conducted on January 25th. About 250 volunteers helped in the annual point-in-time homeless count. 43-year-old James John Unchenko was sentenced to 5 years of probation yesterday under the plea agreement he signed with the Attorney General's office. Unchenko is charged with possession of about 2 grams of an amphetamine-based substance after being pulled over by police in Estumbo Gardens. He was facing a maximum 3-year term in prison. Unchenko's wife, Luciana, is still awaiting sentencing on drug charges pending in federal court after she pleaded guilty to selling meth near an elementary school in Dededo. She was present in Superior Court yesterday for her husband's change of plea hearing. Superior Court of Guam Judge Anita Sokola warned Unchenko that he could be sentenced to the full 3-year term if he violates the conditions of his plea agreement. And the judge told the couple, "You guys are still under a microscope." Just weeks after the Leon Guerrero administration announced the appointment of Jerry Mandel as director of the Department of Integrated Services for Individuals with Disabilities, she has stepped down. Governor's spokeswoman, Crystal Paco, confirming that Mandel stepped down before going through the legislative confirmation process. She said Mandel resigned for personal reasons. In announcing her initial appointment a few weeks ago, the administration said Mandel has been a lifelong advocate and educator of people with disabilities. She served as the executive director of Gumamami and has worked as a special education teacher and guidance counselor. Paco said Carissa Pangilinan, who recently was named deputy director of the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, will serve as interim acting director of DISIT. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Hey, thanks very much, Kevin. Thanks for the headlines today, and thanks for the last year. It's been fun.
Thanks.
It's 8:35. That's iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnect and learn everything that you need to know about how we're going to make 2019 your year to telecommunicate. It's true. They've got it. Push-to-talk plans, mobile plans, internet plans with iConnect.
At the heart of everything we do is our mission to improve the life of every child. From mungy nennies to growing teens, they'll be in trusted hands at FHP Health Center, where we offer comprehensive pediatric services to nurture and protect your child's health from day one. Begin your little one's journey to good health at FHP with seasoned pediatricians and professional staff who hold decades of combined experience. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
Let's see if there's any kind of traffic here that's going to slow you down on a Friday morning as you make your way around town, anniversary morning, or just, what the heck, I got a big weekend. Looks like things have calmed down on the roads a whole lot. You might still see some traffic building up at some of the major intersections up and down Marine Corps Drive, 10 and 15, Route 4, and places like that. But looks like it's smooth getting into the downtown and Gutney area. Never were any big problems going into Big Navy or Anderson or Navy Hospital. So it looks like a good start to a weekend with Friday morning morning traffic. 8:36. It's right now traffic on the point.
Security Title is honored to sponsor Ray Gibson on the Point. In 2019, we resolved to continue our mission of protecting and ensuring the land and homes of our beautiful island. Additionally, we resolved to maintain our vital connection to our families and our community. Protehi Itanomo, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
I got 22 minutes away from 9 o'clock in the morning, having a great time with the anniversary celebration. Uncle Robert in the studio and in between telephone calls with other movers and shakers and headline makers. One of the things I wasn't able to get to, I know that there's a couple of 5Ks. I think the Teedson High School has got one going on Teedson this weekend, and I'm going to be down supporting Marshall Sablon Elementary School and the home of the Stars. They've got a 5K starting at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Showtime at 5, go time at 6. You can still pre-register right now at $8 for students, $10 for grown-ups, $35 for a group of 4. Tomorrow it will be $12 for everybody. First 300 finishers get a Get Fit shirt from the school here, Marshall Sablon Elementary School. They want to say thank you very much to the parent-teacher organization, Agate Tire and Lube, the Agate Mayor's Office, and the Municipal Planning Council, the Guam Running Club, W5 Productions, and Maze's administration, faculty, and staff. Oh, interesting. This a parent-teacher organization. If I read the statement that came out of the public auditor's office yesterday, the Office of Public Accountability, that's one of the new audits that you are going to be pursuing, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it's the what is it? Parent-teacher organization. So revenue and tax is going to have to help you surveil all of that and make sure that the funds that are raised by these parent-teacher organizations are accounted for.
I'm not sure what the staff that wanted to do that was. It was just to kind of look at a number of things. We wanted to give everybody fair notice that we're going to be doing audits of these various different things. There have been problems in the past where non-appropriated funds at some of the schools
it just disappear.
Has gone
Sticky
missing.
fingers.
So we thought that maybe if we just did an audit and try to figure out how these things are being done, whether or not they're through the school or under the... I mean, I didn't realize that there was holding it in agency for the parent teachers or whether the PTO incorporated themselves outside, separate from the school, and so we're just...
Is there no standard for that kind of thing?
No.
So it might be from one school to another, and in fact, like up in Jigo, where you got two schools basically right next to each other, they may have different structures for their parent-teacher organizations. Correct. And different ways that they raise funds and put funds into accounts and then relinquish those funds.
Correct.
So sometimes the school is involved, sometimes they're not?
Correct.
Should we standardize that? Is there...
Well, that's what we're going to look at and make a recommendation.
So if there is a parent-teacher organization, this is what you do.
Correct.
So
well, that's what hopefully the recommendation will come out with. Whatever comes out as the best way to do things.
Because you're right. You get these kids and they're out there doing car washes and bake sales out in the streets and all of these different fundraisers that they do, and they put it into an account at the parent-teacher organization, and then somebody absconds with the funds.
Well, I don't know. We're gonna audit that and see how much of that.
Okay. Well, I mean, just you go over some newspapers in the past. It'll tell you all of those kinds of things. There's a few other these new performance audits that I wanted to go over, but this is it's one of the first times we've had a chance to face on the radio talk about this transition in your life, going from Speaker of the Legislature overnight to becoming the public auditor. What was that like for you?
It was jarring, because at the legislature, I could wake up in the morning and talk to you or hear you say something. Yeah. I find some information, and by 11 o'clock, I have a press release out.
Yeah.
Doing something. at the public auditor, you have a public of office account, public office of public accountability. It's different. You have the GASB rules, you have the general accounting standards, you have the green book, the purple book, the yellow book, and you have all of these things that you have to do. And as much as I'd like to just push things out and say, this is it, until everything, all the T's have been crossed and the I's dotted and all the evidence compiled, and you can cross-reference and footnote everything, it doesn't go out.
Right.
And I've had to learn to shift
be
from
patient.
That P word, from fifth gear down to idle and first gear, and just kind of move along.
Kind of cruise. So how long did it take you guys to put this together, this 2019 annual work plan? Understanding that it's not something that you did alone. I mean, you got with the staff at the Office of Public Accountability.
Oh, yeah, no, everything.
Everybody hands in.
Everybody. I try to be as inclusive as possible. That's another thing that I've had to learn, that that I'm not very good at, playing in the sandbox with other people. But there I've had to learn that, if I need them, they're all classified. And
must not beat the classified employees. Only unclassified employees can be beaten in the government of Guam.
And so I have to work with them. And so consequently, I reach out to them and I ask for their opinion. I get them to. We helped rate all the stuff that we wanted to do, like to do the audits. Everybody was asked what 2 or 3 or 5 audits would you like this office to do?
Because everybody's got a wish list.
Yes, everybody's got a wish list. We went public and asked the public and some of the senators and everybody, just call out to everybody. Then we compiled them, and then it was divided among the 12 staff. They rated it. They gave it what they thought the amount of revenue it might produce, how fiscally, how important was it, how important was it to the public, how important was it to government leadership, and they rated it, and then one staffer compiled it all, and you guys, do an Excel sheet, and it comes out with this thing, and it says, well, this is the order that it came out with when we rated it using the weighted amounts that we gave as we put in there. Then we had a 3-hour meeting where we sat down and said, I disagree with the way that one was rated. I think this is more important. And everybody had an opportunity to speak to it, so things moved up and down, and then finally, in the end, after we all agreed on the weight that it should have, we ran it through the Excel again, and it came out in that order.
Yeah, there's 11 of them, and it was supposed to be a top 10 list, but apparently number 10, and there was a tie at number 10. So the parent-teacher organizations, and then receipts and disbursements in the Mayor's Council of Guam, which is another one of those places that your predecessor had always been pretty critical about, is they needed more ways to be able to control the monies that were coming in, the expenditures, and then record keeping of the expenditures. In most cases, it was just the record keeping where they had some flaws at the Mayor's Council.
Yeah, just that, and the other place that we looked was, the office has a hotline, and you can call in at any hour of the day to register a concern. And one of the hotline concerns was the bingo that goes on and how are those monies being spent.
Yeah.
And so that made it on.
Oh, really? With the Mayor's Council, not regular like the gaming.
No, not gaming. No, at the senior centers.
Oh, I thought all that money was going into a bank account somewhere.
Well, that's what we're.
And it was supposed to be used to buy Bootsy and some.
And so that call came in, and it was rated, and so it became one of the. And then we also, when we did this, tried to also take into account, we can't live at rev and tax forever.
Right.
We've got to look at other things in the government. And so we tried as much as possible to yes, we have a few revenue tax audits, but we want to try to see if we can get to other departments.
We'll go a little bit wider. So Guam Fire Department looking at their ambulance services and watching how those dollars come in, because for a long time it was free. They weren't doing any collections on that. Went with a private organization, and now have got themselves into a system where they can now invoice, bill, and collect from insurance companies and the ambulance, the people that are availing themselves of the ambulance services. So where are those dollars going? And that's an interesting question now. Has anybody seen that account? Or is that another one of those fire department accounts like 911 where it was supposed to be lockbox for maintenance and it went somewhere else?
I don't know that. I'm embarrassed to say.
That's why we're doing the audit, right? Then you've got travel per diem and expenses, legal fees in the autonomous agencies. And I riffed on this a little bit because I remember conversations that you and I and even Doug Moylan have had over all of the years, saying how much money in these autonomous agencies is being spent on these legal houses, as opposed to, you know what, you're spending the money. Hire a guy, or send it over to Leave and Camacho.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the university, GWA and GPA, have had legal counsel in-house for decades.
Sure.
And yes, they have some outside fees, but that's in extraordinary cases.
Specialty work.
But the day-to-day contracts and everything else is handled by in-house counsel, and hopefully I can convince the new administration, though they've said that they want to, and I understand that they're starting in a couple of agencies to do it already, that this would be the best way to go.
Yeah, we'll start with the audit. I'm surprised to see that the Tourist Attraction Fund is there. Why is that a target for an audit?
I think some of the staff just wanted to see how those funds were being used, and it was more, and I try as much as possible to not have wear my old hat at the legislature, and if they want to audit it, I can't say no because I used to wear that hat at the legislature.
Well, but there's a sense of fairness, and so you know that you can't do that. You have to turn in the other direction.
Yeah, and so they wanted to look at it to see how those funds were used, and especially the pass-through funds, and try to see how that was handled. And so I didn't jump in front of it. I said, okay, if that one of you want to look at that, though I may have been guilty of being the ones that, as oversight chair or as budget chair.
Because that was one of your sweet spots. That's where we found a whole lot of money to do a whole lot of work was coming out of the Tourist Attraction Fund. So you would assume that because we've got so many things that are riding on that would be one of those places where at least the GVB, they considered it sacrosanct. Plus, that's also where they derive their salaries, where Pilar's going to get paid out of, right?
Correct.
Is out of that fund. I'm surprised there's nothing here for Gita. For years, you get you guys at the legislature as a speaker and working with the body had called Gita in, and one of the unanswerable questions is how much money is the government of Guam losing in taxes as part of this qualifying certificate program, and I don't think anybody's ever been able to nail that down correctly.
Well, now that you brought it up, I will.
Maybe there's a number 12 on the list.
That. Yeah, it could. And this is
because Red Tax doesn't keep track of that, and what they do, they don't share.
Yeah, they don't share with anybody. And so one of the things is that something may move up. I think this was discussed in the paper the other day, and it was something that I noted when I was doing the entrance fiscal audit with Gita, was I noticed that they ran into deficit. And I said, well, if you ran a deficit, how did you operate? Oh, we just used reserves. And I thought, really? And then I realized we've never done an audit on that. And that was the same thing that I did when I came into the Office of Public Accountability, that there was a huge reserve that was being used to overspend, and I made them do a complete explanation and an audit and had them sign it and posted it so that everybody understood that after I came in on September the 13th, this was the financial condition, this is how much was in TCDs, and this is what they were being used for. So that when I leave, I can account
the next
for
guy.
Yeah. It's like whenever you've ever taken over a nonprofit, you want to make sure that you don't get blamed for all the missing money. You should have an audit.
This is where it is
This
today,
where it is, yeah,
and it's signed by the guy, and so anything that happens afterwards, I'll be completely responsible for. But heretofore, leading up to this point, certainly not going to be. Use tax collections in there, hotel occupancy tax collections are in there, the cancer treatment fund, and again, spreading around some of these audits outside of just the Department of Revenue and Taxation. I think they're still going to have their own work to do, but now going after the University of, or not after, but looking to the University of Guam to be able to explain what it is that they're doing with the Cancer Treatment Fund, which are dollars that come from. It's our cigarette. It's a cigarette.
Tax.
It's my cigarette tax. I don't smoke anymore, so it's not my cigarette tax.
Congratulations.
And I haven't smoked in 10 years, and my producer Michael Knight has been a non-smoker for all week. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, because he can't afford cigarettes anymore because B.J. Cruz made it too expensive to afford cigarettes. And so I guess that's the success here of your legacy is that at least another guy has decided to quit smoking for among the reasons. One of them is because he's concerned about his health, and the other one is it's just too damn expensive anymore to smoke cigarettes or vape. A thought about that. As I was looking at what people are going to be talking about, I think, for the next couple of days, Bill number 32, Clint Rigel, new member of the legislature, has gone forward and put together, I think it's 24 pages after the 27 pages up to and including the effective date and severability of language that would provide for adult use of marijuana without the requirement to get any kind of medical paperwork or recommendations from any doctors or blessing from Public Health and Social Services. First of all, as a former family court judge, what do you think about this? And if it were to pass, your recommendations for taxing this the proceeds from marijuana sales?
Well, though I have said in the past, I have said in the past that I am in support of the legalization, that I've always thought that it was unexplainable how a drug like tobacco that kills more people in a year than we lost in World War II is not on the schedule of 1, 2, 3, or 4. But a drug that hasn't been shown to be
hurt anybody,
is listed as Schedule 1.
And methamphetamine is Schedule 2.
Yeah,
the world is upside down.
It is, and so yes, and so I am in favor of the idea. I can be taught. I'm still educable in my old age. And I was really shocked. A friend of mine has a medical condition and hasn't the ability to be able to, or at least could have or should have been able to have marijuana to assist in his condition. And his doctor was all over him about the fact that when he admitted that sometimes when the meds don't help, he smokes. And his doctor was all over him, and he was like, "Really? You're that opposed to it?" And the doctor goes, "It's still the smoking and the inhalation of."
Oh, that's what the doctor got mad at.
That's what the doctor was mad at. As I understand it, he said, his doctor says, "I really don't care what you do about the edibles. You can do all the edibles you want, but do not smoke, because any inhalation, whether or not it's the atmosphere with smog in Beijing or Bangkok, all that is inhaling all that bad things is bad for your lungs. But the THC, if that's calming, then do it in the edibles." And
so sprinkle it on your spaghetti, the gummy bears or whatever it is that they're going to be coming out with. And it seems to me that you can get THC and the CBD in a variety of products anyway. So in theory and just for the general discussion, okay, if you are over 21 years of age and you want to take the edge off a weekend, you've got your choices now. You can smoke marijuana or chew marijuana or make a cookie out of it, or you can have a 6-pack of beer or a couple of glasses of wine, whatever it's going to. You don't have a problem with adult recreational use of marijuana. No. Okay, all right. Well, that's good news. So, having said that, everybody, there's the two minds, right? You get the guy that says, "Dude, that's great. I get to smoke. I'm going to get high all weekend long. It's going to be groovy," and go back to work clear-headed on Monday morning and drive buses and not have to worry about anything else. But then you're going to have the people that say, "Well, you know, I don't smoke, but if we're going to allow for consumption of marijuana, I want to tax that." And we were hearing somebody called in this morning talking about 27% tax and. No, it's Lulian Guerrero was talking about. Governor Lou was talking about in Colorado, where they're taxing it at 27%, and now have enough to buy school. They've got enough left over to buy school lunches for kids for the next 30 years. So, can you imagine the upside for Guam if we were to tax at that level? You think that's a good place to start?
Could be, yes. You tax it all you want.
Mm-hmm.
And just with my other hat, previous hat of a juvenile court judge, is that people have, even if you're over 21, just understand that what you do in front of children affects the children. And so as parents, you should be very careful about what you do and how you do things in front of your children, and have access, whether they have access to your stash or not. And so those are all the considerations. And that was the same thing with cigarettes, and the same thing with alcohol.
Sure,
so,
when we were growing up. Have I imitated my father and my grandfather in my life? Yeah, better believe it. Jim Bonanno chiming in, a teen that smokes weed is 70% more likely to try opioids than a teen that does not smoke weed. And he says that is a fact. Is there a concern, do you suppose, as a family court judge or former family court judge, do you suppose that there is a link between marijuana and then moving on to harsher drugs? Or is it possible that that's the gateway conversation?
I'd have to look to see whether or not there are studies that it's the supposed gateway drug, because I've not known it to be a gateway drug for many people that I've known. So I have question about that.
Yeah, you know what? A guy just like me in high school, I think, stopped at marijuana. Didn't go much further than that. And part of it might be the availability of the other stuff, at least here on Guam in the 1970s. My producer's telling me I'm closing in on almost out of time. What do you miss from the legislature? Do you ever sit at your desk at the Office of Public Accountability and go, "Gee, sometimes I wish I was still Speaker of the Legislature"?
No.
What about the part about beating the unclassified? So do you miss that part?
Get up, it's Jesus Day.
What are we talking about here? Listen, thanks for coming by. It's always fun. It's always fun getting together.
When your guy calls,
we got it. You know what?
Michael calls and says, it's your anniversary, and that we've been friends for 40 years.
I don't remember when we weren't friends, Beach.
Yeah.
So I'm delighted that you're here to share this with me.
You were that young. So.
When was that? Oh my gosh, years before the beard for sure. 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're getting really close to the time for Fox News Live. That's coming up next. We'll shake up a couple more stories and maybe find a couple of other folks to spend this last hour of the anniversary show with. Portions of the anniversary show brought to you by my friends over at Take Care. Radio station is KUSG for Michael Knight and Kevin Kerrigan and Blake Watson, BJ, and Uncle Robert. We'll be right back for another hour after these.
Ready to deal. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. March 1st, that's the date President Trump has in mind as a hard deadline to reach a trade deal with China.
We never really had a trade deal with China, and now we're going to have a great trade deal with China if it all works out, and we look forward to it. It's going to be great for both countries. Not just us, not just them. This is going to be great for both countries.
The president with the comments after meeting with China's vice premier, adding U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods will go up to 25% if an agreement is not reached by then. It's expected to warm up in the Midwest in the next couple days, but for now they're still dealing with record cold.
The cold has left normally busy streets largely empty, except for a brave few.
I had to buy my new jacket because of the cold.
Yeah, back home our toilet's plugged, the bathtub doesn't work, so
I left my wife and 4 kids with a disaster.
And there are still power and gas outages in multiple states. And complicating things, we're expecting several inches of snow tonight across the Great Lakes.
Fox's Jeff Bonasso in Chicago. The case of a notorious drug kingpin about to be in the hands of a New York jury. Fox's Colonel Scott has more live.
Lisa, on day 38 of the trial of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the defense completed its closing argument trying to discredit each prosecution witness, maintaining that El Chapo was not the leader of the Sinaloa cartel. One defense attorney told the jury that prosecution witnesses were criminals who'd soon be living among them. Prosecutors objected. In their rebuttal, the government said their witnesses were people El Chapo trusted and their accounts should be believed. No court tomorrow. The jury will get the case on Monday. Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. On Wall Street, the Dow edged down 15 points. The Nasdaq gained 98. The S&P added 23, posting its best monthly gain since 2015. This is Fox News.
Your car right now, man? Not now, Kev. I'm watching Betsy. And she has to be spotless, bro. Clouds are coming in fast. It looks fine to me. Look again. It looks fine, Kevin. It looks fine.
You know what makes more sense than Guam's weather? Using your Bank of Guam credit card at any Shell station to save 6% on gas purchases. Call, click, or visit for more details. Make more sense. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for our all-new Ultimate Cheesy Garlic Bread. How would you like it?
I'll take a skeptical grandma.
Set in her ways?
A smidge.
Grandma, try this ultimate meatball marinara made with ultimate cheesy garlic bread. Melted mozzarella, parmesan, garlic butter spread. It's just like yours.
Like mine? My grandmother's recipe?
Try it.
You know, my grandmother's cheesy garlic bread was never all that.
Subway, make it what you want. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Customs and Border Patrol officials in Arizona say they've made their biggest fentanyl bust ever.
As politicians debate the efficacy of a border wall, many point out that most of the drugs that come across the border come through our ports of entry. And that was the case this past Saturday. The Nogales Port of Entry director, Michael Humphreys, says a large truck carrying produce had some anomalies in the floorboards, so they referred the vehicle to secondary inspection. They ended up finding 100 packages of fentanyl, the opioid that is several times more powerful than heroin.
With a weight of nearly 254 pounds and an estimated value of $3.5 million.
They also found nearly 400 pounds of methamphetamines. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Facebook says it's removed 783 Iran-linked pages, accounts, and groups from its service for what it calls coordinated inauthentic behavior or fake accounts. A district court judge in Louisiana putting a damper on a last-ditch effort for New Orleans Saints fans to get a do-over.
After further review,
Breeze. Pass is incomplete, no flag.
The game will not be replayed. Audio courtesy of Fox. A federal judge Thursday refusing to order the NFL to replay the conference title game where the LA Rams defeated the New Orleans Saints to advance to Super Bowl 53 after a missed call by officials there on a pass interference and helmet-to-helmet contact by Rams defensive back Nickel Roby-Coleman. The judge ruling Saints season ticket holders had no right to compel the NFL to enforce league rules that could reverse the game's outcome or cause its rescheduling. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
A Chicago police spokesman says surveillance video shows Empire actor Jussie Smollett had a rope around his neck as he walked into his apartment the night he reported he was attacked. The surveillance footage from Smollett's apartment building shows he arrived home wearing the rope after he says the attack occurred. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
The Ray Gibson Show, the anniversary version today, brought to you by my friends over at Take Care, also brought to you by American President Lines, where they're shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar. And Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for, what is it? First choice for specialty care needs. Yes, that. I remember now.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Oh, that's sweet. As part of the anniversary celebration, friends over at GTA Evelyn Campus has got one of these. It's a Google. What's the phone? What is the name of that phone? I forget what Google now has their own phone. Everybody's familiar with iPhones. I've got one. Everybody's familiar with Samsungs. I've got one, but there is a new Google phone, and I forget the name of it, but they've got one. They said, we're going to send it over to you. Yes, this will be nice. I've been thinking about, reducing my consumption of telecom anyway, so 3 phones ain't going to work, so one of these 2 is going to be retired before too much longer.
I'm guessing the Google is an Android.
Yes.
No, nice.
Yes. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
No, I hate iPhones. Oh, what a waste of money.
See that face you're making here on
what a
iPhones.
waste
Look
of
like you
money,
just
man.
ate a bug.
Well, that's because I'm all doofy and stuff.
There it is, a Google Pixel 3. Thanks so much. Google Pixel 3. You know what? That was weird. No, this is just, I don't know what happened here, buddy. It's just, it started talking to me. The phone, you see, you're casting aspersions to iPhone. And you know what? It went and got to the stream. I didn't touch anything. I didn't call up the stream.
And then went
I wasn't
to
even
that
on
point
Facebook.
in
It
the
went to that point.
conversation.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Good Lord.
You did that.
Diana Rose writing in, congratulations, Ray, on a successful year of the best live podcast Guam will ever had. Thank you for giving us a place to congregate and keep up with all the things good and not good that are important to the people of Guam everywhere. You rock. Thank you so much, Diana. You rock as well. And Diana, one of the, quote, international listening audiences that we have here, she's currently in Washington State in the United States of America. And yeah, it is kind of one of the cool things, one of the blessings of broadcasting the way we do now and with the technology that we've got available to us now is that it used to, when I was a boy in this broadcasting game, would you believe this summer, 40 years ago, the idea that we would be able to take the audio and plug things into microphones and through consoles, stick it up to the transmitter, and have it go anywhere beyond the reach of the transmitter was unheard of. I mean, if you were, I was working at KUAM, and at the time it was a 10,000 watt transmitter, which was, we could throw all over the place with that, all the way through the Pacific. 10,000 watt AM. Yeah, I mean that was a big signal coming out of the farm at Ordot. We were able to get that signal and get heard around the Pacific real easy. Yeah. But when we started on FM, which is generally line of sight, even at the high powers, we were lucky if we could get down into parts of Inaran and Umatic. But now here we are, 2019, and the idea that Diana Rose, and we grew up together, from Malolo, can hear me in Washington State and keep up with what's going on at what, and this is the fun part now, at a great time for her. Right, because this is in the morning show for her starts about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and so she can stream this program while she's driving up and down Federal Way. Actually, nobody drives on Federal Way. Nobody's driven actually on Federal Way since 1999. The Federal Way is at gridlock. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah. So people that wish they were driving on Federal Way in the afternoon can hear what's going on. So it's an afternoon drive time program for her and others like her. But it's great to be here, and I also like some of the other things that we've done. And I'd like to say that my partner Richard Yu is watching the broadcast with his grandson strapped to his chest, and it is his vision that provided for many of the things in his dough that is provided for many of the things that we're able to do here with the broadcast, not just going online. When we got our hands on this radio station, a small transmitter and not much by way of infrastructure, and we built studios and got new transmission devices and new antennas and things like that so that we would be able to bring this broadcast to you. But he said that's not good enough. Media in 2000, at the time 18, is all about people interacting with their media on their phones, on their tablets, on their desktops, and so this is a continuation of his vision to be able to bring you great live programming, news, entertainment, and information from Guam, but put it on a Facebook and put it on the YouTube Live and interact on Twitter. And now you can interact with us on Instagram. And I'd tell you how to do that, but frankly, I've gotten it so that there's a connection between us and Instagram, and if you were on Instagram, you'd be able to comment back and forth, and it would show your comments based on Instagram. Only problem is I'm not sure that anybody else, unless there's a lot of people also on Instagram, whether you'd be able to see their comments. So I'm not sure. We'll stick around with Facebook Live for just a little bit. There's also a couple of other social media channels that we may broadcast our video on. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Anyway, I see Joe Rosario is online. Debbie Wise, as I said, Diana Rose is there. Sonia Silyang is online. Ongil Tutao, June Bells Carino is there. Debbie Kinata, and one of these days, Debbie, you're going to need to come into the studio and hang out with me. And tell me what you have been thinking of and what has been on your mind. Debbie Canetta has also spent some time on behind a microphone and was always an interesting and provocative listen. Anita Santos is there. Chris Biacchino, Chris Green, Auntie Narissa Underwood was hanging out online with us while her husband was on. Gallo Perez, longtime listener and friend. Joe St. Nicholas has been playing around with the program. Kenny Williams, and there is no bug on Guam or alive that Kenny cannot kill. So if you're having some kind of infestation over at your place, make sure you find him. TC's in charge of that. Trisha Cruz, Joseph Leasealong is online. I saw Yuka Hechanova was there, Carlos Barreto, and others, and a lot of people chiming in, wishing us and us. I'll make that distinction very clear. While my name is at the front of the program, it is the Ray Gibson Show, after all. I am not alone, nor do I want to be alone in this broadcast. Michael Knight, as usual, gets the phone and dials the phone pretty extensively.
I'm also known as the other Kevin.
Yeah, the other Kevin. And so Michael Knight is a big part of the program and the daily producer of the show, Kevin Kerrigan with the news. Blake Watson, who could not be with us today, and so it's I'm thinking about you, Blake, wherever you happen to be. And there's another segment of folks that I'd really like to say thank you very much to, and I'll start a list, and it's going to be incomplete because it's based on my memory. I didn't write it down, but guys like APL and MRE. And Guam Regional Medical City and Take Care and the guys over at Security Title and Kings and so many of our longtime advertisers that have been a part of the program since day one. And I can't tell you how humbling it is that you continue to be there and continue to support me. Wendy's and Subway and that family there. You know what? My favorite showing off. I'll tell you this because it's funny in my head. My favorite version of showing off is when I have people in the studio, right? I got folks in the studio, and though I go into a live read, they say, for Wendy's. Well, if you ever watch the program live, you know that there's hardly at any time scripts in front of me. The people at Wendy's, June and his wife, have over the years allowed me the opportunity to be able to ad-lib their copy, and that's a privilege that most advertisers don't give guys behind the microphone. No, I have one message, and I want it to be the one message only. And over the years, I suppose it's worked out for the guys over at Wendy's that my live reads have sold a lot of Wendy's hamburgers and French fries and breakfast and now I hope spaghetti. So to the advertisers here on The Point, thank you very much for the confidence, and I hope that there is not one morning or one segment of the program where I don't deserve your confidence. So where do we get to go? I mean, I'm looking around here. I just got the last hour of the program. We've had a great time with BJ, and Uncle Robert was in the studio for a little bit. Auntie Luleon Guerrero, the governor of Guam, called up the radio station to say happy anniversary. And Mike St. Nicholas had chimed in as well. It was nice to hear from him. The groovy, and you gotta go. What hour? That was the 7 o'clock hour, right? We were in the 7 o'clock hour. When Mike's Uncle Robert's in the studio, right? And Mike St. Nicholas is online. It's like 7:45 or something like that. And I got the two of them together. And you know, trying to get the old Democrats together and hanging out with the young Democrats. I'm not going to say that there's bad blood. I think there might be disappointment going in both directions in this little controversy that they're in. But I think when it's all said and done, they're Democrats. They're both kids from Guam, so I'm sure that they'll figure something out. But I thought that was a happy coincidence, having the two of them sharing the space on the radio at the same time. All right, so on the table of contents this morning, I spent a lot of time excuse me, talking about this, and it is 27 or 28 pages of legislation that Wow, what's that? This is the second time I had to swallow a burp while I was talking on the radio. What did I have for breakfast today? You know what it was?
Did you have?
I can taste it. It's the 2 pills I take in the morning. I take a multivitamin and a fish oil. Can you smell it? Does it smell like tuna sandwich in there?
A little bit.
All right, so 9:16. So the big topic of conversation in between me patting myself on the back for surviving a year on the radio is the conversation now about recreational marijuana. This is going to be a big deal. Now, how do I want to say this? I want to try to manage your expectations. So, by way of managing the expectations, I'm going to stand up for a second. I've been sitting down too long. By way of managing the expectations, thing number one, the bill has only just now been introduced. Make that clear right now. It's only just been introduced. It's not law yet, guys, so don't go out there and start lighting them up. And I know you have. I know you're carrying. But don't start lighting it up and thinking that you're not going to get in trouble because, hey, wait a second, Clinton Rigel got the bill at the legislature. I can smoke out in the street now, can't I?
I won't get in trouble. I just tell them I work for Ray.
Yeah, yeah. That and a couple of dollars to get you a cup of coffee at McDonald's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 co-sponsors on this legislation.
I'm guessing this has got to go through public hearings and some other things, too.
There will be public hearings.
Absolutely.
There will be public hearings. And then the legislature is going to, at some point, vote on it. And then it will go to the governor's office. Now, in the conversation with Lulian Guerrero, she said, look, first thing that we're going to do, legal's going to take a look at it. And if legal blesses it, if it looks like this is not something that's going to get, I don't know, our territorial status revoked by the federal government, then we'll go ahead and sign it into law. She doesn't fundamentally have any problems with the idea of medicinal marijuana or recreational marijuana here on Guam. So at least that is not going to be an impediment to moving forward. But as many pieces of legislation do, what it will do is this will set up a cannabis control board. And the board now is going to take a look at this, and then they will set up the rules and regulations. So we're going to be standing up another thing in government, and so I think they're going to have a year to be able to stand up the rules and regulations that are going to make for this process of being able to go out and grow your marijuana or go to the store and buy your marijuana. So it's going to take them some time to get all of those things in place, and then even after that, there might be 6 months here before licenses are actually distributed for some of these businesses. So if you're already in your head building out, trying to figure out which building in Tumon that you're going to start renting so that you can sell marijuana to tourists, you might need to think in terms of a longer range plan, because there might not even be any rules and regulations for you to abide by or license forms to fill out with this cannabis control board for, I don't know, 18 months after it makes its way past the governor's office. So there's quite a lot to it. I would recommend that you go to the legislature and take a look at it, and don't just take it for granted everything that you're reading on the in the media on it. 32-35 is the measure that you're going to be looking for. There's a few other things that I thought were kind of interesting. The creation of a cannabis control fund. How's that for sounding bureaucratic? We have the Cannabis Control Fund. Like the government of Guam can control anything. There is hereby created, separate and apart from all other funds, the Cannabis Control Fund. All fees, fines, penalties, and other charges resulting from the licensing and enforcement of adult cannabis use on Guam shall be deposited into this fund. Expenditures of the fund shall be the appropriation from the legislature, and the Director of the Department of Revenue Tax shall report on a quarterly basis to the Speaker of the Legislature revenues collected and expended from this fund, and post the same on the Department's website. So we're creating not only a board, but we're creating a fund for which these dollars are going to be going to. And, of course, there's going to be those fees And in addition to that, there are going to be taxes on the actual marijuana as it gets sold, as there are transactions that will be doing it. So the board will adopt separate regulations as are necessary and feasible for the public display and use of cannabis items at exhibitions promoting cannabis as an alternative to pharmaceuticals. So this is another component of the plan that I think is going to be kind of interesting. You know, we go every once in a while, be like a home builder's show over at the Hyatt, right? Or they'll have like pastries in paradise.
Right. Yeah.
They're going to have the same thing for dope. Can you imagine?
That'd be nice.
Isn't that fun? Can you imagine? I'm sorry, I like going to pastries in paradise just as much as the next guy, but there's going to be, one of these deals, and we should already start naming it now.
Yeah, I know. I was sitting there. I'm trying to think. I'm going through.
Don't hurt yourself.
I'm
the same thing. I'm the same way. You know, there's a process for coming up with clever names and fun things to say about things. But while I'm talking on the radio, it's not a good time for me to do that. And I'm sorry, I was just distracted because Arlene Collins is checking in on Facebook Live. So I just want to just nod over in that direction. Not going to happen. 9:21 in the morning. So imagine something along the lines of a pastries in paradise for marijuana. Does that not? So you could have pastries in paradise and the something that's like pastries in paradise, but for marijuana on the same day at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a slice of fried gold, don't you think? And it'll be lasagna day. I'm sorry. The mind reels here with the possibilities for me to have an incredible amount. Now, I don't smoke. So all of this conversation is, in my mind, is purely academic. Although, you know what, maybe this is a thing. And I don't know what I would be worried about one way or the other. I mean, it's not like we do drug testing around here anyway. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of what's preventing me now from smoking marijuana. Number one, I don't have any.
Yeah, well, just the fact that it's illegal as heck. But aside from that, there's probably not.
I don't know. There's this. I don't even know if it's morally inconsistent for me to say, well, it's okay for me to drink beer, but not okay for me to smoke marijuana.
Yeah,
right?
From a legal standpoint, it is. But your morality is up to you.
I don't know. I'd really have to think. First impediment is I don't have any. I don't have any on me now. I don't know where to find it. I wouldn't know where to look if somebody said, "Hey, Ray, all of a sudden marijuana smoking is legal, and you can go out in the back of the radio station if you want to." I don't want to go where you live.
I don't either.
Police are there every night. I don't want to go there. 9:23. There's a few other things that I circled in the legislation that I wanted to riff on. 888-8255. Is that the phone's ringing? Is this somebody's going to call me and say, "I have marijuana. You want to try?" Wait a second. Come to think of it, I suppose if I thought about it hard enough, I would be able to find some. Howard. A Guam excise tax is imposed on the sale or transfer of cannabis from a cannabis cultivation facility to a retail cannabis store or cannabis product manufacturing facility. Every cannabis cultivation facility shall pay a Guam excise tax at the rate of 15% on the dollar value of cannabis that is sold or transferred from a cultivation facility to a retail cannabis store or cannabis product manufacturing facility. Provided further, no such excise shall be levied upon cannabis intended for sale as medicinal cannabis. So if we're bringing it in and it's for medicinal use, there's no excise on it. But if otherwise there is. Okay. All right.
And I actually had a caller earlier pose an interesting scenario. He was like, okay, let's say they pass the legislation, and then people start to supply the marijuana to the distributors, but the government wants to know, where did you get this? How did you get it here? Because
but which government?
Well, our government.
No, which one? Oh, the local government?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to care.
Because then the federals will get involved.
No, they won't.
Yeah, because it's
the
Schedule 1.
Department of Justice doesn't care. They don't care.
Yeah.
They're going to, they're going to care more about cockfights than they care about whether or not there's somebody that found a seed somewhere and made marijuana out of it.
And that really was my point. I said I just can't see them going retroactive on people like that. Once it's legalized, then it doesn't matter where it came from, and there are plenty of people already growing it here.
And there's that. So it's just that I'm trying to get the world view from this legislation. and so what it looks like is that when it passes, there will be an opportunity for people to be able to grow up to 6 plants in their house. All right, and so we've talked about this before, and one of the people that I want to talk to is an expert on growing things in your house.
Man, I can barely grow a cat.
You almost don't need to, but the idea is, if we're going to do this, then I want to have the best system in the house. It's like I don't want to get just a little bowl and put a fish in it and call it an aquarium. If I'm going to get into it, it's going to be a saltwater aquarium, and it's going to have octopus inside of it, and it's going to have really expensive and endangered species and lionfish and stonefish and all kinds of other stuff in it, just like I had when I was growing up. Right? So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it all the way. If I was going to do the personal consumption, I'm just saying. Hey, Tom. Good morning.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm not stoned yet. But sometimes, can I just tell you, sometimes I talk so much and talk so fast, I get a little dizzy.
Anyway, I have 3 problems with us legalizing marijuana here. Number 1 is the future. What do you think the kids are going to do before they go to school in the morning? The night before, they're going to be high. And you cannot tell me that the kids are not going to have access to it, because right now we cannot even control the kids having access to the regular tobacco, cigarettes and alcohol, let alone marijuana, right? So anyway, the kids are not going to be able to learn properly in school because they're going to be showing up at school high from the night before, even from the after smoke of the adults. Even if the kids don't take the joint themselves and smoke it, they're going to be inhaling the after smoke from the adults.
Oh, contact buzz. Yeah. Contact high. It's like going to, like at the UB40 concert. I'll bet there's going to be a lot of people that will come back with, and their eyes are red. But did you smoke? No, but everybody near me was smoking.
Yeah, the kids are not going to learn in class because they're going to be sleepy and they're going to be high.
You just described my entire senior year. Tom, you just described my entire senior year. I wasn't high, but I slept through almost every class that I had, the math class and English literature.
Yeah, the strategic academic test is going to drop considerably, and I'm worried about the future of the children.
Okay, well, so we'll put that in the list of concerns, is making sure that adequate barriers are put up to prevent our young people from having access to marijuana. And they will work the same way as the barriers that we have put up to prevent young people from getting their hands on cigarettes and alcohol.
Yeah, but we cannot even control it right now. They still have access to it. Okay?
Yep, okay.
My number two concern is that we have a problem with obesity on the island. When you smoke that thing, you get the munchies, right? You feel hungry.
I heard.
You're gonna be eating up to the max, right? So the obesity rate is gonna increase in Guam. Then the diabetes rate is gonna increase in Guam. It's gonna be overall bad for our health.
So overall concerns about the general health of the island, what with everybody getting high and looking for potato chips. Imagine what we could tax potato chips and chocolate chip cookies at.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about, The overall health of the island is bad if we ever legalize that thing. Number 3, my concern is traffic accidents on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a person drinking alcohol and then smoking a joint. The combination of that, they're going to go driving down the road and immediately pedestrians going to be hit. All the collisions going to happen. And the hospital is going to be overwhelmed with injuries from all the accidents, et cetera, et cetera. Those are my concerns, Other than that, other than those 3, I have no problem. If the people want to do it, let them do it. But I'm just going to be careful in the future.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can always spot the stone driver because they're the ones that are doing 8 miles an hour in a 35. So I'm serious. So if there's accidents, it's going to be because the cars are moving too slow, not necessarily. So I think bad accidents going to be a fender bender. Of course, all kidding aside, I don't disagree. I worry about that, but I worry about all of these things in the same context of the prohibitions that we have with alcohol for people that are driving, for people that are engaged in important activities. So we don't want people flying airplanes or driving cars or buses or big dump trucks when they're high or drunk. So I think that's one of the things that we're going to have to learn how to do is be able to detect these guys. And I'm sure that the police department, in fact, didn't Paul Tapau recently, Tom, wasn't he on the show not that long ago talking about training that the police officers, especially the highway guys, have had recently, where they are taught to detect other than alcohol. I want to say that that's something that they have participated in over at the Guam Police Department.
I don't know what happened to that, whether they succeeded in that training or not.
Yeah, well, I'll find out. Nate Horn reporting that drug use went down in Colorado after it was legalized there.
Regular drug use?
Yeah.
The meth problem that's going down when they legalize marijuana. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it could. Not being a druggie myself, I couldn't tell you, but maybe it is possible that if you are a meth jughead and you smoke marijuana, maybe there's something about that will help reduce the urges or reduce the what's the magodai that you feel for the drug, and maybe it helps them to quit. I don't know. Or it's possible that people just looking for that high, that thrill, were able to get it with marijuana, so they didn't need to worry about methamphetamine.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. I hope. I hope because I tell you what. I worry about this town. I was asking Uncle Robert one of the things that keeps him awake at night, and he was talking about his concerns about the future and their inability to recognize that there was a past before them and learn from that. And I worry about all of the people that have got serious problems with methamphetamine. I worry that we've lost a generation of kids here on Guam.
When it comes to marijuana, I only agree on the medicinal side, where people are in pain, they need that as a painkiller. But other than that, other than the medicinal side of marijuana, I am against it.
Okay. Well, and some people might say, I had a hard time at work this weekend. That's my pain, so I want to smoke. Tomas,
hey,
it's always fun hearing from you. I'll talk to you soon and be listening for your voice with Daryl Taggarty this afternoon on Tall Tales. And so here I have the Braven HD wireless speaker.
Yeah, we were supposed to play a game.
Speakerphone and phone charger.
I just reminded you.
Yeah, and so here's a lot of people have. I've got one. I got one of these Bluetooth deals at the house. It's a Bluetooth speaker, right? Pairs up with my phone, but it does not charge my phone. And if the phone rings, then I cannot talk to the Bluetooth thing and carry on a conversation. You can do that with this, because if you're an important person, you can link up your Pixel from GTA or your iPhone that Michael doesn't like, or the Samsung, whatever. You can make it pair with this, and if somebody calls you, you'll be able to talk to them through the Bluetooth gizmo that you've got here, like in the car. Right? Most Bluetooth gizmos don't have the thing that allows you to do that in the car. So I've got this. And what I'm going to do, are you going to give me a break long enough to come up with a question, do you suppose?
I think we can do that, yeah.
Okay.
More or less.
Okay, so I'll give you a clue right now. Here's your clue. The answer is on the front page of today's Guam Daily Post. The chair is against the door. The answer is on the front page of today's Guam Daily Post. So grab your post or go online or however it is that you get that and stand by one. And I will give you the question that could make you the winner. The first person to call in and correctly answer the question at 888-8255 will win this special Ray Gibson Anniversary Show gift of a Braven wireless speaker, speakerphone, and phone charger. And this comes from my friends over at Beyond the Box. All right, are you ready? All right, we'll give you the question on the other side of the break, and the break begins with an iConnect blurb. So iConnect, incredible packages that they've got for 2019. They've always got a good package going. Swing by, 888-8888 is their phone number, or find them on the World Wide Web, or come to the iConnect office and ask about the great plans they've got for 2019. They got mobile, they've got internet, and for those of you that want to change the way you do business, push to talk.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
At the heart of everything we do is our mission to improve the life of every child. From mungy nennies to growing teens, they'll be in trusted hands at FHP Health Center, where we offer comprehensive pediatric services to nurture and protect your child's health from day one. Begin your little one's journey to good health at FHP with seasoned pediatricians and professional staff who hold decades of combined experience. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
Bang, bang, bang. This, I'm going to put together a Spotify playlist that's going to be the title. Bang, 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 bang. And Neats Maniari. Next time, do a text contest. Oh, okay, I promise. So tell you what, maybe in the next couple of days we'll do it because the anniversary. I want to do the anniversary shows like I do my birthday. I don't celebrate just once in my birthday. So I think there's going to be a few other opportunities for giveaways in the next couple of. I was talking to somebody yesterday about smart technology, right? And they've got the Internet of Things, if you will. And it used to be that the internet was this. You wanted to go find out if you had mail on CompuServe or America Online, and you dialed the number, and your computer made funny screechy noises through the modem, and then you connected up, and that was it, and then you disconnected, and you were done. But now there's the Internet of Things. Virtually every appliance can be made to be connected to the internet. Virtually, and I've got things at the house. Every once in a while I'll take a look at all of the things that are connected to my router, and it's amazing the things that I've got between computers and tablets and phones. My surveillance system, my video surveillance system, has a full-time connection to the internet. So if somebody is lurking in the backyard, it'll send me a note that says, "Hey Ray, somebody's lurking in the backyard." And my security system is likewise connected to the internet, so that if I leave the house and forget to set the alarm, number one, it will tell me if I'm beyond about a mile from the house. My phone will go off and it'll say you're outside the geofence and you left the house. The
alarm off.
The alarm is off at the house.
Yeah.
And so you go, and then what you do is you press a button on the phone, open up an app on the phone, and I can set the alarm while I'm driving.
Nice.
It is. Mm-hmm. It's the Internet of Things, and there's more and more of that kind of thing coming. I wish I could tell you more. It's just I had a meeting with some friends over at GTA yesterday, and I don't want to spill too many of the beans. But having said all that, I promised I was going to get to the contest, right?
Yeah.
And you're sitting there with a bated breath going, what's it going to be? There's so much on the front page of today's Guam Daily Post. Is it up there? Maybe it's in the ad for Delta Lube. Is that where the answer to the question is?
You
or maybe
just wanted to say lube.
I did. I'm sorry. You know me. See, after a year we've been working, it's like we're brothers, right? And there's the story about Clint Rigel and the weed industry. Is the answer in that story there? Is it in the story about Geraldine Mendel? There's Desmond and Derek's mom. Is it in the story about the Make-A-Wish child? Or is it in the story about the GPA fuel surcharge remaining unchanged? That's exactly where it is. So here's your question. What is the current fuel surcharge? What is the current fuel surcharge with the Guam Power Authority? All right? You got to pay for the administration. You got to pay to be a member of the club. But the big charges, the big money comes from paying back the cost of fuel. So what are they charging you per kilowatt hour at the Guam Power Authority? The telephone number to make yourself a winner is 888-8255. You want me to grab that? I'll grab the phone here. 20 away from 10 o'clock in the morning. My name is Ray. What's yours? Hello? I heard something in the background. Going once. Going twice. Going to line 2. All right. What is the correct answer? What is the current fuel surcharge?
Is it 15.4 cents per kilowatt hour?
15.4 cents per kilowatt hour, and it looks like it's going to remain that way for the remainder at least another 6 months, because they're not going to be raising it. They're going to wait until the fuel prices actually stabilize a little bit. So congratulations. Who's this?
This is D.
Hey, dude, how you doing?
Doing good.
Hey, when are we going to get together? You owe me drinks, right?
Oh, probably a different D.
Smart ass. All right. Well, tell you what. Here's what I got for you, D. I've got the Braven HD wireless speaker. So we've got the Bluetooth connectivity, so you can listen to your jams, and it also has a phone charger. So while you're listening to your jams, you're not losing any juice on the phone. And then the other thing is, it's got a speakerphone. So when I call you and say, "Dude, let's go," because there's a special at Creston. There's going to be Blue Moon on you all night. You can say, "Yeah, okay, be right there."
Awesome. Hey, Ray, congrats on the 1 year, and I'm glad to hear you back on the air, man.
I'm happy to be here, my friend. I'm happy to be here. So I'm going to put you on hold, and my producer, Mike, is going to say things to you that only winners... What the heck? Are you still there? You heard what he sounded. Dude, you got to call back. Because after a year, I still don't know how to use the damn phone system. So call back. Mike will answer the phone and get your winner information and say things to you that only winners get to hear. Isn't that fun? So my friends over at Take Care, if you want to help out, if you've got some stuff that you want to give away over the next couple of days, no problem. Just send it over. I can do a contest like that. I got the background. I got the training, and it's just the way the brain happens to bend. 9:42 in the morning, and this first anniversary broadcast brought to you by Take Care is just about done. I think we've touched on a number of places that were fun. The other big story is that the LEAC, as we were talking about here, the LEAC is going to remain unchanged for at least 6 months. You know, every day I look at the price of West Texas crude and the price of the fuel that gets bought by the Guam Power Authority based on a 10-day average of all of that, and $54.03 is where it is today. It's been higher than that. It's been lower than that. And that's just the nature of the game in the oil business. And it's funny because there's so many factors that go into the price of oil. Even at the wholesale level like that, you know, all kinds of international things, and you know, how are the Russians doing today, or what are the Iranians doing with their oil, and that kind of thing. So a lot of factors that go into that, and hopefully we see it stabilize low. You know, it wasn't that long ago we were looking at prices up around $100 a barrel. You remember that? Wasn't that long ago. And everybody, I remember thinking, my God, what kind of world are we leaving behind for our kids with the price of oil up as high as it was? Cost of electricity, cost of doing business on Guam. Anyway, so I hope it stabilizes lower than that, maybe around $45 a barrel, $49 a barrel, and we'll watch and see what the Public Utilities Commission is able to do. But I'm glad, for at least planning purposes, I'm glad that means that I'm not going to see too much of a bite taken out on my electric bill over at the house. And my electric bill here at the radio station, you know, despite the fact we're at Facebook Live and we've got all of these other digital and social means and ways that we can talk to each other, which is groovy. Is you got I still have a transmitter, and trust me, it draws more electricity than a refrigerator. So I'm absolutely delighted that. It will not cost me any more to run that. In fact, I got a project coming up that is going to require me to put a duplicate of that transmitter right next to it, which I figure is going to double my power bill in the building that we're going to be using. But you know what? You're worth it. You're worth it. Being able to talk to you whenever we want to in a variety of frequencies. It's good for us. Good for the radio biz. While I'm thinking about it, you know, might be an opportunity to say thanks to a couple of other people that have been instrumental in helping the program and guiding some of my thinking when it comes to doing this show. Among them, guys like Evan Montville Cohen. And he's got an outfit called C2 Social, and he's got great ways, great ideas to help with your business, getting a little bit of a toehold, if you will, on what's happening in the digital advertising community. We work well enough together, and he's given me some great ideas and things that I've pursued. I don't necessarily consider those guys competition. I think, in fact, I believe that working with digital and social media platform advertising actually helps radio, and I think radio helps those kinds of advertising platforms. So we work pretty well together. My buddy Kaz Endo, who's I love the way his brain bends, and I loved the way his brain bends for all these years. Our relationship started off when I was doing car shows, and I needed somebody to dress up my posters and dress up my applications, because otherwise it looked like it was coming out of some kind of federal office. Because it's easy to make applications that look like that. I wanted it to look like something car guys would like. And so Kaz did that, and what was that, 92, 93, buddy? And we've been friends ever since. And then there's Red Turbio, Red and Turbio. And I don't know if you know him. He's not necessarily a front-of-the-scenes kind of guy. But I love his 360-degree worldview that he's got in advertising and promotions and marketing. He's certainly one of the best. If you're looking for somebody that might be able to help you get a 360-degree view of your business and different ways that you can market your product, definitely call him. I want to say thanks to everybody in the advertising agency business. It's always good with you guys as partners. So I'm absolutely delighted that you have been a part of this broadcast for the last year, and I anticipate over the next year you guys will continue to be partners in all of our mutual progresses. 9:46 in the morning, and speaking of progress, or not, depending on where your brain is at. You remember it was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I got a WhatsApp message from a friend, and he said, I heard that Pilar Laguena going to be the new boss over at GVB. And naturally, I went with it because I know the guy, right? I know the guy, and usually his information is spot on. It's dead on because, he's inside kind of the high command. Anyway, he sent me the thing. He says, it's going to be Pilar at GVB. And I said, okay, groovy. And so I started talking about it on the radio. Little did I know, that announcement wasn't ready for prime time. It was premature by at least 2 weeks. And I don't know that all of the parties were, including people maybe the administration had been talking to already that weren't Pilar, were aware of what was going on. So, hey, sorry about that, MB. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to steal the thunder of the administration. But the official announcement is out, and it's Pilar that is going to be running things over at GVB, and then Bobby Alvarez, who is going to be the deputy. And as I said, I love Bobby and his brother Ed and the entire family. As far as I'm concerned, we are family. But I will say that I am disappointed with the selection of Bobby as the deputy general manager at the Guam Visitors Bureau, and it's for one reason in particular, and it's because I wanted that job. I told you this the other day. I said, I've been looking around in the government of Guam, and people press me for service and say, you need to be in the government, Ray. And I said, okay, this is the job I want. If I'm going to be in the government, the job that I want to work someplace where the pay is good. And I think the pay for the deputy general manager at GVB is pretty good. I said, I need to have a job where there's reasonable expectations of some groovy travel. And if you're the deputy general manager of the Guam Visitors Bureau, arguably that would have turned into a trip to the Philippines. It would have turned into a trip to Japan. It would have turned into a trip to Korea. Maybe a few other places sprinkled around the Pacific, these destination markets, Hong Kong, China. Yes, we need to send Ray because he's the deputy. And the deputy general manager, they travel around with the dancing troops. And Jimmy D. See, that was the job. And low expectations, right? I mean, you talk about, if you're the boss of the Visitors Bureau, if you're Nate DeKnight, or if you're Pilar Laguena, we've got these lofty expectations for you. I want to see the Japanese numbers rebound to like they were in the late 80s and early 90s. I want to see the Korean numbers through the roof, and I want to see spend in both of those categories go, oh, my God. That's what I want to see. And so they're pretty lofty expectations. But can you remember at any time in the history of tourism on Guam where we had similar lofty expectations for the deputy general manager of the Guam Visitors Bureau? I'm here to tell you it's never happened. It's never happened. That's why that's the perfect job for me. That would be the perfect job for me. Actually, as I think about it now, the other perfect job for me would be the other job that was announced the other day, which is the Commission on Decolonization. And in fact, their first meeting is Tuesday. I don't know if you noticed this. But there's, who's that? Melvin Juan Pat Borja. Mr. Hyphenated is now the guy that's running the Commission on Decolonization. And as I said, can anybody recall in the history, and I'm not being tongue-in-cheek about this, is there anybody that really believes that there's an expectation for results from the Commission on Decolonization?
That is like the most useless government entity that you have here.
Because my uncle did that job.
Them Americans ain't giving up this island with all this military importance. So y'all
no, and there's ways through that. There's ways through that. I mean, there are places where there's a presence of the American military, and they're not possessions of the United States of America. You know, it's like the Philippines, right? The Philippines, for a long time, independent of the U.S., there were still bases there.
Oh, sure.
Right. Yeah. So you know how that worked? We charged them. We're going to pay rent. Yeah. Okay, so maybe there's the same thing that you're going to. Nobody's kicking anybody out. We're just saying if you're going to stay there, you got to pay rent, right? Yeah. Now, to the degree that Congress may or may not entertain that idea, well, that's role for the guys over at the Commission on Decolonization. But really, and honestly, be honest with yourself. Let's manage these expectations now. Is there anybody that thinks that anything is going to happen with the Commission on Decolonization? When Ed Alvarez had that job, you know, I did 100 interviews with the guy, and we talk about all these different things that may happen, and they have meetings. They have meetings all the time. This is a meeting get-together place. And they get there, there's harumph for rumph, and this is good, this is bad, this is what we ought to be doing. And as long as there has been a Commission on Decolonization, has anybody told me of any of the goals that we have achieved? Including the primary goal, which is to educate people about what the options are when it comes to decolonization. What are the options? What are the high sides of independence? What are the high sides of there's the status quo and statehood and free association. And I'm going to say lump in Commonwealth and Duchy and all of that stuff. So that there's supposed to be these educational campaigns that have been going on that would lead us to a place where I would get to vote because Grandma's tomorrow. But maybe Mike should get to vote because he pays taxes here. We'll pay taxes here. Yes, that's the rock we've broken our back against, isn't it? Yeah, people last names like that. Debbie Connecta says, I do. Melvin Juan Pat will shake the roots free. Okay. And I hope he does. Because otherwise, you know, otherwise maybe we just, if there's another administration where we go through and we have no receivables coming out of the Department of the Commission on Decolonization, maybe we ought to just shelve it until we get serious about the vote. Your thoughts, 888-8255. It's 9:53. Mike says I got to take a break. Okay, be right back.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Yes, an interesting thought you've got there. Kaz Endo says John's officially passed the torch to his favorite radio brother / son on your comeback first anniversary date. Somehow I'm thinking he finds this coincidence amusing while listening to you from above, as you two are forever connected once again. Biba John, you will be missed. And I appreciate that first pass at some kind of a eulogy. I'll reserve my other comments and my other thoughts for a time I think is going to be most appropriate. I don't know that today is the day. I will ask notice of John Anderson's passing that you keep Mahi certainly and the family in your prayers through the weekend. It's been a tough road for them over the last couple of years. Anybody that has seen what Parkinson's can do to not just the patient, but to the caregivers and those around him, you know just how brutal that can be, and it's a long, brutal slog. And John fought. He stood up against that for as long as he possibly could. We got the last time that we were able to get together over any kind of substance was a swearing-in ceremony at the Rotary Club. And we had a great time getting together. By then, he was already kind of limiting his moves out. And we had a good time there. Prior to that, Jerry Roberts and Fred Robinson and Harv Angel, Hutch Walsh via Skype, and Rick Naughton. I got together over at the Fiesta and had a lunch for John. And as is typical, you know, we were out there thinking, well, you know, we got to do this for John. Gotta get together and hang out with John for lunch. You know, I don't know if he's getting a whole lot of getting out time and things like that. So I called John and I said, John, the guys want to take you to lunch. How's Wednesday? And John's like, well, I can't Wednesday. I got lunch with Brooks on Wednesday. Well, how about Fridays? Well, I don't know. I got something else going up on Fridays. Like, everybody was taking John to lunch. Because he'd just come back from the States. It was a great get together that day, and I think among the favorite pictures that I've got in my phone and in the actual archives. But as I say, I'll hold my thoughts for a little bit. You think about John and his family, and all of the other friends, and I hope that there are a number of people. While I'm riffing on this. I hope that there are a number of people that will recall the number of times that John Anderson would put on a suit and go stand up on a stage somewhere and carry a microphone and never, ever get paid for it. And he'd do this for just love. He loved doing the job. And it's among the most valuable lessons that the guy taught me. Good morning, Ken. Though I will say, I don't do everything for free. That part didn't sink all the way in, because there's groups. If they've got money, I'm going to charge them. Hey, Ken, what's going on?
Well, I just have a John Anderson story. When I was living in Hawaii, and he was over there briefly working with KGMB.
Yeah.
We used to meet for coffee at Lions Coffee over in Kakako. You remember that area?
Not vividly.
Lions Coffee. Anyway, they had a coffee roasting, and it was walking distance from his studio and from my office. And we would meet there for coffee from time to time. And one day he made a comment. You know, he says, he never thought he'd say this, but compared to Guam, talk radio in Hawaii was rather tame.
Yeah, well, there's from time to time we can get into a no-holds-barred, it's full contact talk radio, isn't it?
Yeah, and in hindsight, I think when I think about that, it was true. I mean, you lived in Hawaii. Talk radio, with the exception of Aku, was pretty tame.
Yep. A lot of national stuff. A lot of guys riffing on national stuff, and I couldn't help but wonder when I was there listening to some of this, and then I had friends that worked in the talk radio business going, "You're missing the big local stories. Jump in and don't worry about what's happening in the States and what's happening in your show prep. You need to jump in and start talking about what's happening right there in front of you on the front pages of the news." Ken, we'll get together again, and there will be a time where we can all share our memories about John. I'll be looking to you for yours. All right.
All right.
Okay, my friend. For the guys, Michael and Kevin and Blake and everybody that came in and was a part of the program this morning, thanks very much for making this first anniversary show so much fun. Thank you. Take care. Stand by now for Fox News Live on KUSG Agana.
Lawmakers continue to work on a plan for border security. President Trump doubles down on his call for a border wall.
The president tweeting more troops being sent to the southern border to stop the attempted invasion of illegals through large caravans. We have stopped the previous caravans, and we will stop these also. He continued, with a wall, it would be so much easier and less expensive. Earlier, he tweeted, wall is already being